But I think the development of full artificial intelligence will spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody's checking it out.
With a rocket or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. They were too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
Kelly, you said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help me!
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
Self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio.
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest. Into the digital darkness.
Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and hello to all of you who may also have troubled minds. What's going on, guys? It is Thursday night, which is one of the nights we get together and talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. That's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific. What are those things we're not allowed to talk about? There's way too much, so I'm going to have to sum up. Aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the governments, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down. And the upside down is interesting. It encompasses so many things anymore. The conspiracies, like I just said, the Metaverse is hot and popping. It's so crazy. The CIA stuff. I mean, we're gonna touch on so much of that tonight because, as always, right, there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to think about because this world is an absolutely crazy place. So as we do this, right, you guys know if you've been listening for any amount of time, or if you haven't been and you're brand new, well, welcome. You're in for a treat because this show is about all that and more. It's basically just a conversation. It's just again, we do something called drinking the maybe juice. What's up, Ash the Reptilian from Mars in the chat? I see you there. Speaking of maybe juice, we that's what it's about, right? And again, probably it's our crude way of saying the maybe juice. Anyway, is our crude way of saying what Aristotle said, and this is a paraphrase, more competently, let's say. And he said, "It is the mark of an educated mind to entertain a thought without accepting it." And that's what maybe juice really means. That's what this is about. It's about getting together and talking about all the wild mythologies, UFOs, and all that stuff. And is it real? Is this stuff real? Right? And that's really what's going on with this. And we take all ideas, right? And of course, since it is, sort of a UFO based show, and drinking the maybe juice and this sort of thing, you get people that are like, yeah, probably. You get a lot of that, but you also get people that are like, nah, I don't buy that, and that's okay. That's exactly what this is about. It's about what do you think personally, not whether it's the truth or not, because as I always say, the truth is a slippery fish. It's difficult. The truth to me is basically propaganda anymore, and that's why I don't like dealing in truth, right? What the actual term truth is. So many people are fighting for that narrative that, let's just peel off the rails entirely and just consider the possibilities. And as I think it's a Beezy out there said that we don't necessarily go deep, we go wide and consider just really what could be possible. And that's really what this is about. So we're going to get to a bunch of stuff tonight. But before we do that, the reason I'm talking about this show and all the rest of it is because I want to tell you that I don't know anything that you don't know. I don't have any inside sources. Again, shout out to Ryan Gable, Galactic Federation ambassadors. Nobody tells me anything, all right? The things I do, I find on the interwebs, on the internet, right? I just search the stuff and watch the news cycles. And those are my sources, okay? And as always, right, as part of the transparency process, you can find all the links that I curated down in the description below. You can find it on YouTube and also on the podcast feed. When this finally hits the podcast feed, it's a few days delayed, but this will hit the podcast feed probably next week. But so the thing is, right, when you put all this together, I don't know a lot about a lot of things. Okay, I know a little bit about a lot of things. That's what I know. And so then I have the internet to help me, and I have you to help me. And that's what's the best part here is that I've learned more from the people that call into the show, the people in the chat, than I've learned from anything, because it's just sort of mind blowing to get a bunch of people together from all different walks of life. Who knows where you're at, where you're listening from, and just considering what may or may not be the thing. And so, like I said, like I'll always say, the secret weapon of troubled minds is you. And so if you want to call into the show tonight, I'd love to have you. Just give us a call. Pick up the phone number at 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037, and we'll put you on the show. It's as easy as that. You can go to troubledminds.org and click the Discord link and also join the Discord that way, and we'll see you there. And we're watching the chat in all the places, of course, because we're broadcasting live on, we're streaming live on Rockfin, YouTube, DLive, and Twitter, and we're broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. So that's where we begin, and that's how this is. Again, watching your chat, trying to incorporate it into my thoughts as we go. Completely unscripted, by the way. This is not more of like a loose outline situation than anything else. And we just go. And if you guys want to take over the show at some point and talk about whatever strikes you, and again, in any way, like I said, if you think this is all BS, no problem. Okay, that's cool. If you think there's something to this, and you think maybe there's a conspiratorial angle or whatnot, love to hear it too. What do you think? And that's what the show's about. So one more time, 702-957-1037. And like I said, we are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. So if you want to be part of the show there, jump into the Discord over on fringe.fm/chat. And I'm watching the chat there as well. A quick shout out to S Magician over on Fringe. It said, I'm here ready to go. And ENS Works, what's up, guys? I see you there. And just hanging out, having a good time with our friends, talking about wild stuff by dark of night on the internet. And so that's what's going on. And let's see what else. The easiest way to listen to Troubled Minds is to download the Fringe app. You can do that at the App Store, of course, Apple or Android. It's completely free. Download the Fringe app, and at precisely 7 p.m. Pacific time, Monday through Thursday, smash the play button, and you'll get me, and you'll get you. You'll get also the rest of the amazing Fringe programming that goes along with that as well. All right, so let's do it. Thinking of just in terms of things we haven't talked about recently, I try not to double up things too much or do shows too close together that have similar themes and topics. But when you throw everything into a blender and just blend for like maximum maybe juice, it's difficult because the maybe juice seems to get all over everything. Once you get it on you, it's really difficult to get off of you. So this is where we'll begin tonight. You got to check this out. This is wild. Okay, we've been talking in terms of the metaverse, okay, quite a lot, because it's on my mind a lot, because I think this is, again, back to the Great Reset and the Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum, and you will own nothing and you will be happy, right? That whole bit, that thing is like, okay, well, what does that mean, right? Like, how can you actually have people own nothing and still be happy? Well, it's easy. You just hook them up to a VR device and give them a, like we were talking about last night, either a Thorazine or a morphine drip, and just, keep them in their padded room with a liquid diet, and they're completely safe. And they don't own a damn thing because, of course, that VR headset and the machine it's hooked up to, you don't own them. You're just kind of borrowing them for the time being. You know what I'm saying? So that's how it's easy, right? You just strap people into the metaverse, rent them their devices, and there you go. There you go. That's how you will. That's how you'll own nothing and be happy. Okay, but it gets even more wild than that, because we've talked about in the past. I'll get to some of this other stuff when you talk about the metaverse, right? So in one case, it's sort of a giant mind screw. All right, you know what I really want to say, but it's the radio, so I can't say that. Mind screw. So I'll say that. All right, it's messing with your brain, is what it is. It's basically distorting reality, or a person's sense of reality. Okay, and so they're finding new ways, because of course the technological revolution is on for concocting the most immersive metaverse experience, right? And so what's happening with that is they're finding ways to do actual touch, like have you feel warmth on your skin, right? Like, let's say you walk into the metaverse. Oh, let's do it this way. Let's say you walk up to the gates of hell in the metaverse, right? And it's supposed to be hot, right? Because of course we're talking about hell, right? So you walk up to the gates of hell in the metaverse, all right? Of course, you're just in your safe, in your padded room with your VR goggles on. But in the metaverse, you're at the gates of hell. And as you walk up to them, it's hot. It's emanating heat, a blaze from in front of you as you walk up to the gates. And of course, you knock on the iron door and maybe burn your knuckles. Well, how do they actually sort of create those sensations to happen in the metaverse to transfer to your real body that's hooked up to the drip in the padded room? Well, there's ways. They're talking about doing it with a couple of ways. I'll just start here real quick. And would you believe it? This is from the New Scientist, and I talked about this stuff a couple days ago on the news show. We do a news show Monday and Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific on Twitch, and so here we go, just straight from New Scientist. This is going to blow your brain up if you haven't heard of this. Artificial touch, the new tech making virtual reality more immersive. All right, the feelings of touch and temperature are complex biological processes. Now everyday chemicals like menthol and capsaicin are being used to simulate them and create more realistic VR experiences. All right, so these are actually, let's see, they're actually stimulants. All right, and such stimulants have long been used for understanding touch, the most complex of all human senses. In the 90s, the studies of capsaicin and an extract of chili peppers and menthol found in peppermint helped us pin down how our bodies react to hot and cold conditions. Now, Jasmine Liu and her colleagues at the University of Chicago are using this knowledge to create chemically induced sensations to make virtual environments astonishingly realistic. All right, so now come back with me to the gates of hell in the metaverse. Now you know how you'll get that sensation on your skin, how it's supposed to be hot, right? You walk up to the gates of hell and it's burning, and you're like, oh wow, this I probably shouldn't go in there, right? And your skin is feeling this burn from these actual chemical compounds that they're, I don't know, like pumping onto your skin or whatever the heck is going on here, right? They put you into some sort of like fully immersive suit so they can manipulate every single thing in real time as all of this happens, right? So there's the one creepy one. Here's another one just real quick before we get into like the nuts and bolts of tonight. Is this how about smell? This is what's up, shout out to Joe in Florida. Here's your smell-o-vision, buddy. We got this is from vpr.org, and you got it. Want to smell in virtual reality? Yep, a Burlington-based startup has the technology, and here it is. OVR Technology is one of a handful of companies developing scent technology for virtual reality. Quote, what we wanted to do was, as accurately as possible, recreate how we experience smell in the real world, but in the virtual world, said Aaron Wisniewski, OVR's CEO and co-founder. At the company's headquarters at Hula in Burlington South End, Wisniewski held his company's signature device in the palm of his hand, a black cartridge that snaps onto a VR headset and fits over the nose. Inside the cartridge are vials of scents manufactured in the OVR lab. Users testing out the device can try out demos like picking and smelling a virtual rose. When you pull the rose away, the smell instantly disappears instead of lingering like a perfume. That effect is due to the OVR hardware. All right, so here we go. So we got touch, right? no problem. Covered with some sort of chemical stimulants, as they're known. We've got this. We've got the VR smell-o-vision technology, right? Like whatever's going on with this. And then we're going to be able to snap these into the back of a vehicle, which we've got here as well. This is from CNN Business. And you got it. VR headsets are headed to your car's back seat, okay? So this is, you'll be able to snap in wherever you're at, right? You want a quick break at work, just go to the VR room, pop in your VR headset, and, well, maybe you'll actually be working in the metaverse, so maybe you won't even have to. To take your break, you'll actually step out of the metaverse, I guess. But anyway, so all of this is pretty wild, right? And it got me thinking, okay, so in terms of controlling the human mind, in terms of controlling just basically how all of this works, right? Not just us as individuals, as the lemmings, the plebs, the unwashed masses, right? Controlling us, this is how you would do it, right? Again, as they said, the bread and circus, right? And this whole bit is once you do enough of this stuff and people are completely satisfied with what they have, even if it's not tangential, meaning, sorry, that's not the word I wanted. It's meaning it's not even physical. It's not a physical thing. All right, you don't own anything physical because you won't need to, because everything will be digital at some point, right? So here we go. So here's where this gets crazy. So I'm like, all right. So at some point, like we talked about in the past, it was kind of funny. We were like, okay, well, what about, where's my digital beer, right? How am I going to have my digital beer? How am I going to have my digital orgasm? You know what I'm saying? Like, not to be crude, but like this is what's going to happen. They're going to incorporate all of these things into this one space because they have to. It's the next challenge, right? Because if they can have every sensation from regular life embedded into the metaverse itself, well, guess what? Then they don't need a real world for you, do they? They need a real world for the elites. They need a Elysium type world where you live in the muddy mess of what's left of the earth, and they've all gone up to a satellite to watch us in squalor in our VR headsets, thinking we're living, I don't know, in some sort of utopia. Maybe with DMT machine elves or something. So, yeah, the digigasm, right? What's up, Night Stalker? All right, so here we go, right? So back to this. Now, this is what started the whole idea. I woke up today and was like kicking around, did some chores. It's like, okay, I better take a look and see what kind of stuff is on the horizon for the show tonight, because I like to be a little bit ahead of it and not just scrambling for an idea at the last second here. And literally the first thing I found today, before anything else, before Ukraine war news or anything else, any of the rest of the garbage, was this. This is from Science Alert, all right? Now, this is wild. People are experimenting with digital drugs delivered via sound. And it's weird. Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah? All right, here you go. Listen to this. March 30th. Humans have an uncanny knack for finding interesting new ways to get off their faces. I guess that's a newfangled way of saying getting messed up. This usually involves sniffing, snorting, licking, chewing, or even injecting various substances. In a new study, researchers examined a relatively new way to alter minds, which makes use of digital sounds to feed conflicting frequencies into each ear. That's right. By tuning in to these binaural beats, some people report that they can drop out, reduce pain, enhance memory, and ease anxiety and depression. All right. To determine what kind of crossover might exist between the use of more traditional psychoactive substances and experimentation with binaural beats, a team of researchers from Australia and the UK dug into the 2021 Global Drug Survey, a survey of more than 30,000 individuals from 22 countries. They found around 5% of those surveyed had dabbled with the use of binaural beats sometime in the last year. Of course, just over 1 in 10 were doing it purely for recreational purposes. Most users were in their late teens to early 20s, had used prohibited substances such as MDMA or cannabis, and were from the U.S., Mexico, UK, Brazil, and Poland. All right. Beyond seeking a high, their reasons for experimenting with binaural beats were as varied as they were. Quote, "It's very new. We just don't know much about the use of binaural beats as digital drugs," says lead author Monica Barrett, a social scientist from RMIT University in Australia. Continue, quote, "This survey shows this is going on in multiple countries. We had anecdotal information, but this is the first time we formally asked people how, why, and when they're using them. All right? The phenomenon of binaural beats itself isn't new, first appearing in the literature as far back as the mid-19th century. But thanks to the ease with which people can now spin a trippy tempo made of conflicting frequencies and share them online, binaural beats are becoming an increasingly popular art form. Now, here's where this gets crazy, right? Who said this? Somebody in the chat just said, let's see. Anyway, I'll get to that in a sec. So point is this, all right? Let's see. Theoretically, binaural beats are thought to induce changes in the brain, thanks to the way our sensory system interprets different low-end frequencies when they are fed separately into each ear. For instance, listen to a 400 hertz tone in one ear, for example, and a 440 hertz tone in the other, and your brain will interpret it as a single droning buzz of 40 hertz located somewhere inside your skull. This interpretation requires more than just our peripheral auditory machinery. It makes use of a complex of brainstem hardware buried deep inside our heads, prompting neurons far and wide to synchronize into wave patterns associated with relaxation. Okay, so that's where we begin tonight. Now, here's the wildness, right? So think about that. If we're talking about the metaverse itself, okay, and we're talking about actually having a way to keep, let's say, people in an immersive environment, you got to be able to let them get their buzz on, right? Like if you can't let them get their buzz on, again, you know, any kind of drugs, alcohol, whatever it is, right? It's an effect on your brain wave, like your brain wavelengths, how your brain works currently, all the rest of this, right? So if you can't, again, go back to the digital beer or, you know, the digital cannabis, or let's say the digital orgasm, and you have to step outside of the metaverse for these things, you see where it becomes problematic. Well, enter this idea of digital drugs. And what they're calling them that because they're able to actually take the binaural beats. Again, you take the two different frequencies, pump in a sound in one ear, a different frequency in the other, and your brain tries to juxtapose the two and creates a third tone that seems to be buzzing, ringing, whatever, somewhere inside your skull in maybe an imperceptible place, okay? But of course, as you know, the CIA has been working on stuff like this for a long time with the MK Ultra and this type of stuff, right? And I could have taken the show that way, and I thought about it. I was like, okay, let's look into some of the MK Ultra stuff where maybe they did some audio sort of binaural beat stuff. I'm sure it's out there. I didn't look because I got the thought first. I'm like, okay, so if you are going for a digital drug and you're trying to create one, what would be the most potent drug we have? Well, what about DMT? So check this out. If they put you in the metaverse, or let's say you choose to step into the metaverse yourself, because that's, of course, how it's supposed to be. So you step into the metaverse, and you're like, okay, this is cool, but I want to get my buzz on. All right. And then so you dial up, I don't know, maybe you sidle up in the metaverse to a vending machine and put in your digital token, which, of course, who knows what that'll be, and select a particular binaural beat that will replicate the brain waves as if you were on DMT itself. That's right. Dimethyltryptamine. Okay. Well, this is where it gets wild. So just come with me on a journey here as we think about what the actual digital drug may mean. And of course, what they could use it for and where this will head. Because of course, if we can replicate the sound of replicate with sound the brain effects of dimethyltryptamine, that means we could probably conjure at will the machine elves from the metaverse dimension. Sorry, from the DMT dimension, the DMT metaverse dimension in this case. So, well, there we go. I think that probably sets us up properly to continue for the rest of the evening here. But as usual, it doesn't matter what I think. It only matters what you think. And so I'm asking you tonight, what do you think? What about this idea of digital drugs? Do you think sometime soon they're going to be able to replicate the most ferocious drug of them all, DMT, simply by sending tones into your headphones. What are your thoughts? 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Don't go anywhere. More DMT, the Metaverse, digital drugs, and machine elves when we return. Be right back. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we are streaming on Rockfin, YouTube, DLive, and Twitter, and we are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. Tonight, we're taking your phone calls, as always, but the discussion is this. There's something known as digital drugs. They're calling it binaural beats, and by taking two different frequencies, one in each ear, able to alter your brain states. Now, what does that mean for the future? What does that mean for the metaverse? And what does that mean for the first place you're going to meet machine elves? 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037, and we'll put you on the show. It's as easy as that. And what do you think? Do you think this is pretty wild, right? That if you can actually take two tones, one in each ear, and create some sort of resonance between the two, that your brain tries to put together and creates a third tone that could change your brain state, all right? That's the idea here. That's the basic idea of what a binaural beat is. And I know there's a lot of this stuff on YouTube. You can find it all over the place. And considering what the heck's actually going on, and people that just make stuff up and say, the binaural beat, because it's like a keyword term sort of thing, people will listen to it and may or may not even be getting that effect, that actual binaural beat effect. It's impossible to tell, right? You'd have to be able to measure it somehow. So I'm not saying that there's a bunch of digital frauds out there, but I'm just saying that how would you know? How would you know unless you got the digital buzz, right? The digital beer, the digital cannabis, the digital orgasm, the digigasm, right? Because of this, the ability to basically control your brain through the idea of these digital drugs. And again, coupled with this idea of the metaverse, and again, we just talked about being able to pump chemicals, stimulants onto your skin in particular cases to make you feel heat or coldness based on where you are in the metaverse, right? Like I said, if you come up to a fire, or the first example was walk up to the proverbial gates of hell in the metaverse, and it's hot, right? So you would presumably be in some sort of full body suit where they would be able to, in small doses, put these stimulants onto your skin, so you would feel the heat in the particular direction of where the fire should be, right? Where the fire should be coming from. So, interesting, right? So imagine if you do that, all right? And so it's almost fully immersive. You got the smell-o-vision going on, the little thing, so you smell sulfur at the gates of hell, and the fire's burning, and you've got, right, you're feeling the fire, and you're just in the metaverse. But then they've got this binaural beats, what they're calling them, the ability to actually alter your brain state. And so they're calling them digital drugs. And so, well, what happens when they perfect it? What happens when they get the DARPA version of this and they start pumping this into the metaverse and start turning people into DMT tripping metaverse citizens? Starts to make me wonder, right? So suddenly, like we talked about in the past, when I first thought about the metaverse and some of the craziest stuff that you would expect to see there, I thought about digital church and was like, okay, this is going to be what I called then a techno cult. It's like, okay, we're gonna have this really bizarre church-like experience where everybody gets together in the metaverse, and on the altar a portal opens, and whatever god that they want to worship crawls out. It could be a deceased Michael Jackson. I can't say it, Jackson. I was trying to laugh. Or a deceased Elvis, right? Back from the dead, comes through the portal, and ain't nothing but a hound dog, right? So who knows? I mean, this is the craziness. That's the first thought I had, or a Cthulhu or something really terrifying coming through some sort of portal and digital church in the metaverse, right? That was my first thought of like the craziest stuff that could probably go down, right? Somebody mentioned in the chat just a little while ago, this would be like a digital Burning Man, right? Kinda. That would be pretty wild, right? So what about this then? This idea that you can have these digital drugs that can somehow cause your brain to have a similar or even identical, with enough tweaking of the sound frequencies, to replicate being on DMT. That's right, dimethyltryptamine, right? And of course, everybody knows, if you don't, dimethyltryptamine is the most powerful hallucinogen known to mankind. And of course, it is said to induce hallucinations so fierce that you find yourself in these weird dimensional fractal realities with entities known as the machine elves. So, well, oddly and crazy enough, where do you think you're going to meet your first machine elf now? It's probably going to be quite a bit easier to get a hold of a VR headset and find yourself at the actual virtual gates of hell and meet, the machine elves there, than it's going to be to probably get some DMT, because I'm pretty sure it's illegal in all jurisdictions, at least in the United States. There are some places internationally where it's not. And I was looking, and it's pretty interesting. They have like these ayahuasca trips and DMT trips where you can go and, you pay for like they're called retreats, actually. And so you go pay to go get the whole experience, right, in a place where it's actually legal. So pretty wild stuff, okay, to kind of be able to meet those machine elves. So what do you think here? You think this is wild? What happens when you actually, inside the metaverse, your brain state is so fractured functionally by this digital drug, the binaural beat, that instead of being you experiencing the metaverse, your brain state is fractured so much that you cannot tell the difference between reality and virtual reality? And do you think, or do you not think, that is exactly the goal? 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at Troubled Minds. We'll put you on the show. Let's go to Joe in Florida. Welcome to Troubled Minds, my friend. How are you? Any machine elves out there tonight?
You know what? I don't know. But sometimes I think there's a ghost in the machine. All I can think about is, nobody's called in yet, so I was going to give them a call before it pops out of my head. But there was this movie, and it wasn't that great, but some of us have seen it, about living in the Matrix. Part of that movie, they followed a kid who murdered his parents. And the kid kept saying that he was watching the movie over and over again until the movie spoke to him. Now, psychosis or any professional diagnosis that may have been undiagnosed at the time, okay? This guy basically said that the movie spoke to him, just like we hear about music and people that maybe are slightly already unhinged and we don't know, and something pushes them over the edge. So we know that happens if we're going to base this on any type of facts of murders and things that have gone bad. I myself, as hard as it is to believe, the only drug I do is maybe something to go to sleep a little bit for an anti-anxiety. Believe me, at my age, I start to wonder if I should just break out a bunch of friggin' lines of whatever. I don't want to say it because I don't want to get kicked off the air, but if I should start doing some of that in the strip club somewhere, but I don't. But I joke about it a lot. However, it would not be a far stretch to say that we know that there used to be subliminal programming. We know that in between frames of TV. So if you were immersed in a virtual world, let alone the obvious advertisements that are being pushed in front of us, who knows if there's an underpinning in whatever code we may be watching or listening to. And if our subconscious wouldn't pick that up. We know that when we sleep, we dream. And sometimes our subconscious tries to tell us things. So who knows if technology isn't getting there where we can hone in on a layer or a wavelength or something that's maybe when we sleep, after we've been programmed, we'd get up and do something else. And the sweet thing about it is, who knows if we don't even know we're doing it? Like taking a sleeping pill. I'm just throwing stuff at the wall right now, just kind of thinking of it as I'm talking to you. But who's to say I don't go and play my VR headset and maybe there's a code in it? We don't know. We've seen this. There's a book called Snow Crash. We've talked about it before. And in Snow Crash, there is a virtual virus, but those people that don't have the virtual virus, they can also get the virus physically. It's been a long time since I read the book, so I don't remember the details. But who's to say you don't get up like when you take one of those sleeping pills? These were those sleeping pills that used to get up in the middle of the night, eat or sleep drive, and things like that. Who's to know if we don't have something like that we can be programmed? And then we're doing stuff and we don't even know we're doing it.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, meaning that it could already be out in the real world, is what you're saying, right? Exactly.
I can give you examples of ASMR that really make me mad in real life. Go on Twitch, and I usually listen to I listen to DJs all day at work if I can, here and there. But there's girls, for lack of a better term, that get on a microphone, and I'm just like, okay, these are nice-looking kids. What a terrible way to make money. But apparently they make a lot of money making weird sound effects with the microphone. Maybe some of you know what I'm talking about. But whenever I hear those sound effects, I literally want to punch the screen. It would be like somebody here, and I haven't gotten any sleep, and they open up a bag of chips. And just the sound of the chips or the sound of somebody slurping milk makes you want to just reach across the table and knock them out.
Whoa, easy. He means proverbially, not actual violence. Damn it, Joe. And did you drop an F-bomb? Don't do that on the radio, please. Come on, man. That's twice.
I hope I didn't.
I don't know. Maybe I misheard you. Anyway, so I'm sure you didn't. But yeah, go ahead. So okay. You know what? Something to equate to what you're talking about is recently in the actual real world, we do have something similar, right? This Havana syndrome. And in some cases, they've described it as being a possible audio weapon, or that directed energy sort of weapon. And they don't know if it's microwave or audio or some combination thereof. But think about that in terms of if you were able to kind of send out this binaural effect with one tone in one ear and one tone in the other, that could cause literal brain damage. That could be exactly what's going on now with that just the Havana syndrome, right?
That hypothesis is as good as any other one that the government could have came out with. I mean, here's another thing, now that you bring that up. We know that animals can hear or sense things in lower frequencies or frequencies we can't quite hear. But we also know that there are sonar weapons. It escapes me at the time right now, but we know that there's low frequency acoustic device that could disperse crowds and things. So who's to say that maybe they can't perfect it, but like you said with Havana syndrome, maybe there's something that they could do that maybe just enough makes us just a little anxious or a little bit more anxiety, so that maybe we do something and fall foul of the law. And then we do literally have a choice. You could go to jail, but guess what? It's not jail. You're going to be home in your VR set, and you will have nothing, and you won't enjoy it. They just need an excuse to get us bagged and tagged and put in a room.
Exactly. Scan your barcode here and step into the padded room, please. When you reach the seat, please put on the goggles and attach that drip to your already pre-installed. Anyway, go ahead. Oh boy.
I mean, that's it. Look at the constant assault we have now from the media, from the TV, Okay, and it puts people on edge. It puts people against each other. The next evolutionary step would be to use the evolution of technology to control us even more. And Havana syndrome could be a very rudimentary start of that. And if those things get refined, they're going to have a better result. I mean, we can't put it past them. We know that we've had these things on Plum Island. What was the other project? I'm tired tonight, so I'm like losing my mind. But basically, remote viewing, all of these things that would sound absurd to a regular person, the government's tried. So what makes you think they wouldn't try this, or anybody wouldn't try this?
Yeah, or like you're saying, it hasn't been somehow implemented somehow, or maybe that's the testing process, the Havana syndrome stuff. Because think of it this way, right? So in terms of, we're talking about binaural beats as a drug, as a digital drug. What would a digital overdose look like? A digital drug overdose, right? It would look probably a lot like something like Havana syndrome, right? Like Havana syndrome is actually happening in the wild now.
It could be Havana syndrome, but I'll give you an example. I have somebody here that lives in my neighborhood, and you hear about people taking a bad hit of acid and not coming back. And there's somebody here that lives on my block, and she was an otherwise normal person, saw pictures and everything, went to a party, got slipped something. Now she's a functioning adult, but barely. She probably has a minimal IQ of maybe a 9-year-old.
That's not good.
And it could be that. That could be the result. Well, that could be the result. We could either be lobotomized, or we could have, lobotomized, meaning that we could just be dumbed down. Or it could be Havana syndrome, where we're dumbed down in a more violent way, which, whatever white matter or whatever happens to your brain when that happens. But either way, the results can be very perilous. And the scary thing is, if they could turn it on all at once and affect a large amount enough of the population at once, how would we ever really know if it was being done to us slowly? Like theories of, not that I conform to this or not, but like theories of fluoride in the water is the best example I can think of right off the top of my head. Okay. Who knows? It's not that I'm not, I brush my teeth and whatever else, but it's the best example I can have. Or like aluminum in deodorant. So if we're slowly being poisoned, how would we ever know as a population if they were doing this to us?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And you could do it at such an audio volume as to maybe not even be perceptible to most people. Yeah, pretty nuts, man. This idea that now they're saying that with just tones you can create your digital buzz. Well, now you got it, man. You got your smell-o-vision, you got your digital buzz, and you got the gates of hell burning fire in your face. What else do you need, huh?
Well, so I'll leave you with this. If I could have a smell-o-vision of cotton candy at a virtual strip club, I would be happy. That would be excellent. And the other thing is, if they put out enough sound waves or whatever, that was it. A good ASMR that I would be interested in is there's 10 hours of the warp core in Star Trek. That I would probably be willing to go to sleep to for ASMR.
Okay.
Very calm and soothing. So,
does it exist? Does it actually exist, or are you wishing for it?
I'm wishing for it. If I go to sleep, I'm like, you know what, man, just take me on a spaceship and get me out of here. I don't care.
It's like the meme with the aliens, get in, loser.
I've got that T-shirt. It says, get in, loser. It says, get in, loser. We're doing butt stuff.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. Joe, you're the best. I appreciate you listening. Appreciate the call. God bless you and the family, okay?
Have a good night. Have a good weekend.
Thanks a lot, bro. Thanks, you too. All right, there you go. There's the first call. That's the break in the ice kicking us off. But okay, so back to this idea. Thank you for the phone call, Joe. 702-957-1037. What do you think about digital drugs? What about this idea of binaural beats as, well, the next DMT. And of course, we know, if you, like I said, if you're listening and you've been paying attention. And again, by the way, I don't do drugs in any capacity. I do drink the alcohol, which I know is bad for me and I shouldn't do. But the thing is, right, like I want to make sure, and I'm clear, I'm not encouraging anybody to do things that are illegal. So please, obviously, don't do those things. But in this case, right, this is going to be sanctioned by the Metaverse at some point. That you're going to be able to buy your buzz, whatever your buzz happens to be, straight out of a vending machine in the Metaverse. Of course, the vending machine won't be like physically in the Metaverse. You'll be able to just dial up your little heads up display that's in front of you, kind of go beep beep beep, and just order your buzz, and then the binaural beat starts playing in your head in the two tones, and bam, you're drooling on the sidewalk, right? Like, I mean, it's as simple as that. And I think that the scariest part about this is, like I said, so sure, fine. Let's say there's different levels of an actual buzz, or this type of thing, like the dopamine hit that you get from whatever, right? So they're basically manipulating the brain through this idea of a binaural beat, manipulated somehow to be more powerful than a standard whatever, right? And then not only that, then they're playing it through some sort of like specially designed headphones, and they're able to control your brain. So if they can control your brain and get that little dopamine hit to give you, I don't know, again, the digital beer with a little bit of a buzz, to get you the digital cannabis, or get you all the way up to and including your digital DMT. And of course, that means that in some cases you'll be able to unfortunately somehow, some way, incur a digital drug overdose. And this is what I'm saying. So it seems pretty interesting that there's all this in here with the world happening and really beginning as it is, and turning this into, I don't know what this is going to turn into. I don't know, this weirdness. But then there's also, if you can get digital DMT, and that's the case, at some point you're going to meet the machine elves, right? Because that's the way it is with machine elves, right? Like they say that you take the DMT and it transports you to this other place, and there's like an entity or multiple entities waiting for you there in the space you arrive in. And again, right, so is this sort of that shamanic journey where you're actually maybe traveling outside of your own consciousness, your own body, into some other space? Or is this, again, all just this bizarre construct in our head? And again, that becomes an interesting concept here, especially now when you can sort of coax this response, this DMT response, just from some sounds in your head. So in your one ear and the other ear. So I don't know. This looks pretty creepy to me. This sounds pretty creepy, and this is one of those things where I kind of grit my teeth and go, uh-oh, if this is possible. And they're actually calling binaural beats the next digital drug, or the first digital drug, and then being able to manipulate those frequencies so they can actually control your brain states. Again, right, this is more conspiratorial than you could say about almost anything. Like I went back and I was digging a little bit, and you better believe it, a couple of years ago, Alex Jones was talking about exactly this, and saying the CIA and DARPA had been working on this exact thing for a very long time. I've got those clips. We'll listen to some Alex Jones a little bit later. I see you there, Night Stalker. I'll come get you as soon as we come back from the top of the hour here. So the question tonight is this, again. What about this DMT metaverse? What about the idea of digital drugs? Do you think it's going to be possible to manipulate these binaural beats with one tone in one ear, another tone in the other ear, and then your brain creating a third tone that alters your brain state? All right, and there's we're going to get to Stonehenge and some of those things, and we'll get to Alex Jones, and we'll get to the idea what science actually says currently about binaural beats. But all that's fantastic, but more importantly, as always, I want to hear what you think, because that's what this show's about. Love to hear your thoughts on this. Do you think this is even possible? The idea of digital drugs. Somewhere in the metaverse, you pull up your heads-up display, you order your digital DMT, and you start mind tripping, and the machine elves arrive. Does this sound like a good idea to you? 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. We'll put you on the show. Easy as that. What do you think? Is this the next step of human evolution? Or do you think this is just a terrible idea. Taking all ideas, all takes on this, of course. Love to hear what you think. One more time, 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Don't go anywhere. More DMT, Metaverse, digital drugs, machine elves, and the Night Stalker, and your calls when we return. Be right back. Don't go anywhere. We are talking about the alien abduction phenomenon.
The aliens are looking through your eyes and they're accessing your optic nerve. I'm doing fantastic. Through that optic nerve, they're transferring to your brain. People are random images as they traverse neurons in the brain.
So we got, all right, so maybe
and they also feel them planting or receiving memories or ideas or images.
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and hello to all of you who may also have troubled minds. What's going on, guys? This is a show where we get together Monday through Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific, to talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. Those things are aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down. Love to hear your thoughts tonight as we stream on Rockfin, YouTube, D-Live, and Twitter, and of course, we're broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. The topic tonight is the idea of digital drugs manifesting through binaural beats, which of course is one tone in one ear, another differing tone in another ear, and your brain sort of trying to create a third tone based on that somewhere inside of your skull, right? And of course, as you do the different tonal manipulations and consider that, different, of course, different, not just the tones themselves, but maybe the volume or the timbre, the pitch, all the rest of these things, that all counts, that maybe they can create this idea of a digital drug. And of course, if that's the thing, then we end up in a situation where we have drugs in the metaverse, don't we? We have this actual theory of, and then may as well take it to the end of ends, because this is Troubled Minds after all. But we have this idea of digital DMT. And as you know, right, if you know what dimethyltryptamine is, DMT itself is said to bring on a bout of conscious thought or subconscious or outer consciousness thought with the DMT machine elves in some other space, whether it's inside of our head or outside of our head. And so, well, is it possible that the first time we meet a machine elf, it will be in the metaverse itself? Love to hear your thoughts. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show just like this. Let's go to Derek in Massachusetts, the Night Stalker. Welcome to Troubled Minds, my friend. How are you?
Hey, Mike. Great show tonight.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Have you heard of this one, my friend?
No, this is a crazy one. I'm trying to wrap my head around this one right now, honestly. But if you hear me getting loud, I'll try to hang up or something like that. The store is very loud right now, so I went outside on my break, and then as soon as I got in my car, just the sky opened up, and now it's downpouring all over my car. So if you hear a lot of rain and stuff, just let me know. I don't want to ruin the show.
No, you're good. You sound fine. Go right ahead.
Okay, good. All right. So as far as the binaural beats to induce these altered states, I think that's definitely possible. I think that's more or less the goal. I think like Robert Monroe and that type of stuff, they're doing those out of body experiences being induced by binaural beats and that type of stuff. But and like it's very similar to how ancient cultures would have, like I think you're gonna mention Stonehenge soon, but ancient cultures, these sacred sites and stuff, a lot of the times they're sacred because the magnetic field or these like portals that are connected to the sun and all that kind of stuff, it has some type of effect on your brain. There's like a magnetic film like on the outside of your brain that's adjusted as it gets into this field. So it induces these altered states and has these like moments of encounters with beings and godlike moments and that kind of stuff. So I think the binaural beats is basically trying to do the same thing. And it makes sense that like when, I mean, just the classic Matrix stuff where our experience is only just different firings of neurons and electricity in our brain and stuff. So definitely they're going to be able to recreate that, like the drug experience, I would imagine. And I was looking up, I've never played Cyberpunk 2077, but I thought there was some type of like VR drug in that. And I looked it up real quick and it was different. It was more like instead of the VR, it was almost as if the same type of process happens where like there's some neural link or whatever. Again, I haven't played the game, but the way it was described is some type of neural link or interface with your brain that's adjusting the neurons firing. That's stimulating your brain in a certain way to give you a sensory experience that's being captured by another person. So like a person committing a crime, you can experience that, or it ramps up to a person actually dying. Like they'll take people from on death row and we'll say we'll take care of your family if you put this headset on as we kill you, so we can use that experience for people in entertainment in the VR space. So I think that stuff is all in the mix, like manipulating our brains, different signals to induce different states, including experience, including mystical experiences, which would be this like DMT drug related type stuff. But the part that like, and that's all cool. Like if people want to have experiences with God in the metaverse, I mean it might get dangerous, but I mean, worship how you want. Have these crazy moments. If it helps you to shift your paradigms and open up your mind, like whatever, that's fine. People find their paths in different ways. But what makes me nervous about it is what these drugs are actually doing. We know so little about them that we don't really understand what the connection is with the metaphysical space, what taking them in a digital space would do, like what that connection would be. So you mentioned the MK Ultra type stuff, and they absolutely were using DMT to contact these entities, you know? So a lot of times people refer to or think about DMT as if it's like changing your filters so you're seeing the things that are constantly all around us at all times, which absolutely I think has an element in there. But I was on a Joe Roop show on I Light in the Void like last year, I think at this point, and he had a guest on Dick Kahn, who has like 200 plus DMT experiences. He wrote a book on it and everything. And he has one experience where he took DMT and then his sober family, but then he saw a UFO. And then he brought his sober family from inside and brought them outside, and they also saw the UFO. So DMT is not just adjusting your perception. It's actually calling entities to whoever took it for sober people to also experience it, you know, which is pretty trippy. So if you were to do that in a digital space, not only will you see, I think, these wild things, I think you might actually it might actually act as some type of beacon, so you actually attract these things in the digital space. And what you're attracting, I really have no idea. Like, are machine elves something kind of organic to this reality? Are they like just outside of this matrix that we're in? So if we try to access something in a different type of matrix, like a digital space, are we going to be contacting a different type of entity? Are they going to be the machine elves the way we think about them now? Or are they going to be something else? Are we going to tap into a whole nother realm of paranormal weirdness or of anomalies that exist? Like, are we going to crack into, maybe this is like the trajectory of humanity is more VR, like is closer to the trajectory we're using right now, where people go into a digital space rather than like populating the planet outwards. They actually go inwards and find some type of back doors and trap doors inside digital space. Like, that's what I'm afraid that, or I'd be nervous that doing a DMT-like experience in digital space would open the doors up for something weirder than you expect to find you, you know? Yeah, I'm rambling, so.
Yeah, I got you. So the crazy part about it, like you just said, a fantastic point, is that we don't know what consciousness really is, but now we're working on altering consciousness. So like the difference between those two things could be colossally bad, right? And of course, like you said, it could be good too. It just depends, and all the rest of these things. Everybody's going to be different as well. Like again, you've talked about being put under for surgery, right? Like different people react to different substances differently, right? And you said it takes more for you to put you under than it would a normal person. And so in some cases, right? Yeah. So in some cases, it's like,
I mean, just not because I'm like smarter, and just because I'm a redhead, and there's the rumor that redheads require more anesthesia. It's not that I'm special or anything.
Right. Well, I didn't want to out you. I didn't want to out you as a redhead. I wanted you to say.
No, I know. Thank you, brother. I know. It's tough out here for us redheads.
All right. Perfect. Okay. So, but then, okay. So then, if we have this idea that we're altering consciousness and we don't even know what consciousness is, I think you're right. Like what are we meddling with? We don't even know what we're meddling with. Is it that the old Doc Brown, and Back to the Future, we could irreparably damage the space-time continuum. You know what I'm saying? Like who knows what the hell's really going on with this? That's the scary part. And then they're going to make it super accessible. If they're able to do this and replicate the drug hallucination, I can't say it. You know what I mean? That effect, hallucinogens with this binaural beat or a digital drug, man, like you think synthetic drugs are bad? This is like synthetic drugs. Like this is nuts. This gets super wild.
I think they're going to be able to like recreate a drug type state just using visuals, and just like you're gonna be able to type in what it's like to be really, really stoned and put that in there, and then your VR filter, your goggles are gonna like maybe fog up, become a little blurry or something. It's gonna try to recreate the effects that you have under the influence of whatever that drug is. So put in some type of opiate, and it's gonna try to make you experience that, and then ramp it up another level where you're actually it's not just like imitating the perception of it, it's actually changing your brain to induce the effect onto you. So it becomes even like a double layer of it. And then there's a third layer where people are going to be taking drugs in the material world while taking the binaural beats to change you in the VR world, while they're having a consciousness change just from the fact that they're in VR in the first place. We don't know what that's going to do in the first place when we start to experience worlds that are indistinguishable from our own. That's going to have a consciousness, some type of shift, positive or negative, that we might not even really understand yet. But as far as like these entities are concerned, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse with the possession stuff all the time. But it's like that's what they were doing with the MK Ultra stuff. It's not just the mind control; it's the contact with the entities. So they use the DMT to contact the entities to gain knowledge about them, but also like they want in the body. So the homing beacon aspect of it makes you. That's what they're trying to do, is like put something inside of you. So now if they're doing that in the VR space, it makes it even easier. You're already left. You already emptied out your vessel. So now it's vacant. Something can pop into you, and then I wonder even if it can get weirder, and because of the drug state, if you're opening some type of like doorway for something to bust out of VR, or if you're creating some type of doorway for something to get in. Like we worry about demons in the internet. What if this is the way for something wild to get in to the digital space via the human consciousness, or vice versa? I'm kind of running out of time, but like. That's basically my thoughts. I mean, as far as like dying or like an overdose on these drugs in the metaverse, I think it'll be pretty similar to what it's like if you die in the Matrix. Like you can't survive without your mind. Like it'll be just really, 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 really realistic. And then also, I don't know. What if worst case scenario, you overdose in VR, and worst case scenario to me, you overdose in VR, get trapped in there, disassociate from your body somehow, like really fall out of your own mind, and then something takes the goggles off in the real world, says, "Hi, I'm the Night Stalker." Like that was a really wild experience, but in reality, there's some entity that was actually in the VR that is pretending to be you because they escaped out through the VR goggles. I don't know. It sounds really sci-fi and ridiculous, but like that's like what the MK Ultra DMT stuff is about. It's entity content. So just move that to the VR space. We're dealing with realms and stuff that we don't truly understand. Who knows what's going to happen? But
exactly right.
That's a lot of rambles. I gotta get going. Awesome, really cool topic, Mike. But
best, bro. Appreciate it. Have a great night.
Later.
Thanks for the call. Night Stalker here has a YouTube channel. Please check it out. Links in the description. He's just got a trailer, but let's inspire him to make more stuff by following his channel. So please do that. Looking to hear from you. What's your idea here on digital drugs, DMT in the metaverse, and, well, what about these machine elves? 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. No, I did not change my audio, actually. I saw that, APOC. I'm hearing it different in my headphones, too. I'm not sure exactly what's going on. Maybe I'm not speaking properly into the microphone. Anyway, let's go to Joseph in Iowa. Thanks for being patient, my friend. Welcome to Troubled Minds. Go right ahead.
Hey, I think we don't know in regard to like what we're messing with, but I do think they know. Like,
which part? No, which part?
Especially like with video games and stuff. Like I think it's kind of weird how they had like for a long time like. They had competitive games and stuff based off of ranking systems, and they brought in the entire world, like specifically to like the Xbox. That's like the first like major competitive thing, and then like they shut all that down and turned video games into kind of like, oh, look at this. You want to buy something? You want to look cooler? Oh, you can spin this wheel too, and you can possibly win this, you know, like they kind of turned everything into like a casino for kids almost. Like that's like a drug on its own, you would think.
Yeah, you know what's interesting about that you say that. Have you ever been to like out in California? They got them. They're called like Chuck E. Cheese. Sometimes they're like Dave and Buster's. There's something like that. It's like when you take kids into these places, right? And it's just like sensory overload, and like literally they kids go in and just throw an absolute tantrum because they're not used to, right, all the colors and all the characters and all the video games and just all the craziness going on, right? And I think that's like a perfect example of like taking a regular brain and moving it into the metaverse, right? Like our brain is not used to all that just sensory like overload, like everywhere you turn. I mean, you could look at the sky and probably have like a movie in the sky on the metaverse. You know what I mean? Like that's you know, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about with kids. Have you seen that? You've seen that effect?
Well, I played a lot of video games. Like I played so much video games that I'd even hear video games and like I turn real quick and think I see something in the video game in real life, like kind of thing. But that's not that happened while I was like playing video games all night and all day when I was a kid and stuff. So it it has a major effect on you and stuff. I don't know. I was thinking like, okay, you know how like DMT, right? You were talking about DMT?
Yes.
So Joe Rogan talks about how he does DMT in a blank room. And I just wonder like if that wouldn't, like you wouldn't be able to mix DMT and VR because you pass out on DMT, as I hear. Like you go into dream state. So like there'd be no point of having anything on your head. But like I don't know. Then I was thinking like sensory depth, like those tanks that you get into. If they make a tank that has frequencies in it and visuals, I bet you could go somewhere.
Yeah, right.
Definitely.
Yeah, like a
depth tanks, you're already going somewhere.
Yeah, and so put yourself in one of those sensory deprivation tanks, have like these gigantic, very, very expensive, high-quality audio speakers on the left and right, and be able to induce these trance-like states through these binaural beats. That's probably where this is headed, right? Eventually, it's going to be, because you sort of want to have that, the real sensory deprivation when you go into the metaverse, so you can experience the metaverse in full, right? So wild stuff. That if this is where we're headed, man, like this is going to be a sick place. You know what's wild about that too? Those sensory deprivation tanks, you know what they look like? They look like where Neo and them were in the Matrix when they had them all plugged into the thing and they were in that goo just floating in there. That was like a sensory deprivation tank, right? Plugging them into the Matrix.
They kind of look like UFOs, though, don't they? Some of them, they look like they're like bulls, like UFO bulls. That's how I imagine it, like a perfect UFO, and then like the inside of it would be like a full OLED that you're inside of.
Yeah, it could be. I think there's different types. I don't know. Like I don't have one, so I'm not a I'm not a pro in that regard. But it seems like that's what they were in, right? In the Matrix. It's pretty wild that it's like, okay, so life imitates art.
Oh yeah, no, in the Matrix,
art.
They were definitely jacked into their mind, weren't they? And then connected through like a grid.
Yeah, well, yes, but their physical body was in that like sort of like pink sludge or whatever it was in those tanks. And remember when they had to break them out to get them out of the Matrix itself? They had to unplug the body and break them out of the tank. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wild, man. Absolutely wild.
I would think that goo would just be keeping you like fresh, and then like this, like our like first, like the one I'm thinking of, like something like that. You're just in. Like you can maybe thrash around, simulate that you're running, but you're not going to be Neo in the Matrix.
No.
Well, think like that.
Well, unless you are, Yeah, I don't know. It's a pretty wild idea. So what do you think about the idea of this digital drugs happening? You think this is going to happen? You think this is a real thing?
Yeah. I think. I mean, I have VR already, so I mean, I had this Goliath app and a couple other weird meditation apps that kind of like, it's more like guided meditation and stuff. I mean, I don't know if that's a digital like drug. It's a digital chemical for sure.
Yeah.
Goliath is like something like it takes you on the inside of a brain of someone with psychosis or something. And then like the other one's like LSD art. And it's weird.
Heck yeah. I don't know.
Stuff like that.
I've barely tried VR at all, and I haven't actually logged into a metaverse yet. I'm not sure I will. Maybe I will just for, let's say, reporting back purposes to tell you how dizzy I got being an old guy putting a VR headset on. The wild stuff. We got like a minute left. So what's your take here? So what do you think a digital overdose would look like?
I don't think you can.
Well, meaning that the binaural beats and the drugs are causing brain states that give you hallucinations, and that's what I mean.
I think that would just be like you would just be in the psych ward. You'd probably be stuck in wherever you were at, or you would have like a chemical overload. It'd probably be similar to like a lot of mental illnesses and stuff. I could see that happening, like your brain waves, because like you're messing with your brain waves and stuff. Like in that, if you mess with that, then I don't know.
It messes everything up. Yeah. Absolutely. Joseph, you're the best. Joseph, appreciate the phone call. Joseph here has a YouTube channel called Hydro Hose. Check it out. He does original music shorts and other stuff. Links in the description. Appreciate the phone call, Joseph. Always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Have a great night. Thank you. Appreciate the call. There you go. What are your thoughts? What about this idea of digital drugs? And of course, brought on by Binaural Beats. Let's merge this with the metaverse. How could this go wrong? Let's file this one under how could this go wrong? What are your thoughts? What about machine elves in the metaverse? What the hell is going on here? 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Don't go anywhere. More DMT Metaverse, digital drugs, machine elves, Daryl in New York, and your calls when we return. Be right back. I hear you. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. Please mute, Daryl. Please mute. It's echoing back. I'm going to mute you. Please mute that. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on Rockfin, YouTube, D-Live, and Twitter. We are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. Looking to hear your thoughts tonight. We're discussing this idea of, digital drugs, all right? They're saying that binaural beats can be actually used to manipulate your brain states to cause all kinds of different, drug-like reactions, I guess you would say. And what does that mean? Does that mean that you're going to be able to go into the metaverse itself and just dial in and say, give me my digital DMT, give me the machine elves? And I think that's the craziest part here, is that when you start to think of it in those terms, things get weird. Things get super weird, because you can't really, in many cases, like what Derek was saying when he called, you can't really define the consciousness, like our own consciousness. We don't even know what the hell that is yet. But then in multiple terms, meaning that altered consciousness states like ayahuasca and DMT and things like this, other hallucinogens, we are altering a consciousness that we don't even fully understand in the first place. And then if we put ourselves in the metaverse and then create these digital synthetic drugs that are able to emulate brain states based on, let's say a brain reading from like when somebody's on Molly, or I think that's what it's called, MDMA. I don't even know what it's called. Like I said, I don't do any of that stuff. I really don't know what it's called. I only read articles, right? And so the thing is, how would you replicate that? Of course, you'd have to have somebody hooked up to an MRI. You'd have to put them on the actual drug. You'd have to take like a whole bunch of different audio binaural situations to try and like replicate like the brainwave state of what this particular drug did. And then you would have to have like a close approximations, right? And it would be weird. It would be odd. It would be very much like that MK Ultra sort of situation. And so has this already been done? Again, back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, they said this is MK Ultra stuff was happening. But is this real? Is this going to become real? And what the hell does a digital drug overdose look like? One more time, looking to hear from you, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Let's try Daryl again. Daryl, are you there? Did you get it figured out? What's going on? Test
I
1, 2.
hope so. I just closed every other tab, so I hope that helped.
Okay, so far so good.
Okay?
So far so good. Right on. So what are your thoughts? Welcome, Daryl in New York. Welcome to Troubled Minds. What are your thoughts on this? This is pretty wild, right?
I like it. You know what? I like the idea. Let's say you can get drunk, but there's no calories, right? You don't have to have any calories. You don't hurt your liver. You don't have any of the side effects. You don't have a hangover. I like the idea. Maybe you could tune it in to have like a 10-minute drunk. Like, you're having a stressful day. You just want to have like a real break from your job. You just want to have like a 10-minute drunk or a 10-minute whatever. You could get high for 10 seconds, 10 minutes. You can time it. I think you could have like, you could also like eliminate like the negative things like the munchies, or you being a bad drunk, let's say, when you get like rude or angry, or you call your ex-boyfriend drunk. You could kind of like edit out those kind of stupid things, when you do those, like, things you regret, or you don't sleep with strangers with the first name, sailors that you don't know their first names, stuff like, you're when you're indiscriminate, you could like eliminate the side effects. Like, you wouldn't drive drunk, you could like take the antidote right away, or whatever, like you could just get sober really quickly, I'm assuming, as fast as you could get drunk or high or whatever. And then you could do all kinds of things. Like, let's say you could like do like an ayahuasca experience and, see God, or, do a mushroom experience. I love the idea. I think it's awesome. No calories, no addiction, no hangover, no munchies. It's legal.
Wait. I like where you're headed with this, but I'm not so sure you can call this a no addiction effect, right? So imagine if you could do it like, let's say, micro dosing in this digital drug world. And so, like you said, you could have like a 10-minute high that like expired in exactly 10 minutes. And so that doesn't necessarily mean there's not an addiction factor, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people would double up or triple up or quintuple up. You know what I'm saying?
But it wouldn't be a physical one. It would probably be more of an emotional one, or, you know, a mental one. It wouldn't be a physical one. You wouldn't go through withdrawal or, you know, dry heaves, or, you know, you wouldn't get the shakes, or, you know, you wouldn't have those horrible side effects, like your liver wouldn't suffer, you know, you wouldn't have to get the hair of the dog. There wouldn't be any hangover, you know? Let's say there's no hangover, there's no headache, there's no, you know, whatever, you know, any kind of like drug hangover or whatever that is, you know. You wouldn't have the bad like personality changes that you have, like some people that drink really shouldn't. But maybe that could eliminate that kind of like, you know, you're bad drunk, or you're mean drunk, or you're abusive drunk, you know, maybe you beat your wife. Maybe it would take that kind of like behavior away, you know. I think it could be modified, you know. Obviously it would be able to be a modification. And if you, let's say you just, I don't know, like if you overdose, let's say, there would have to be some sort of program that would, you know, revive you, let's say. And it wouldn't be a real one. It would be a virtual one. You know, it would be a simulation. So, you know, I think there would be a limit to how virtual your, you know, your high could be, for example. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. You are onto something, I think, in the sense of like you're able to remove the physical component of like the beating on your body, right? So the whole point of taking the drugs, or the, you know, whatever it happens to be, whether it's drinking or you know, whether it's ayahuasca or marijuana or DMT or anything, right? Like, and I know they're all very, very different. So please don't get me in terms of I'm trying to like say that. I'm trying to say that they all have a particular way of altering your mind. And so if you do skip like the physical version of this and just go straight to like the brain alteration process, I can see what you're saying. It does. It removes the beating on the body. And especially if you can only do it in the sense of hooked up to like a virtual situation, you clearly can't hook up to VR and Drive. So that's a good thing. So, you know, there's that. There's at least that. So I'm with you. You're definitely speaking sense here. You're speaking sense, in my opinion. Okay. So then go ahead.
Maybe you have to go to the dark web, though, like, you know, to meet the dealers, you know. Maybe there'll be, like, you know, virtual dealers that you have to, like, negotiate with that can be dangerous, you know. I mean, it depends how virtual you want to get it and how realistic, you know. Like, you have to go to a bad neighborhood and you have to take a chance, and you might get arrested, or, you know, when you're trying to score. You know, maybe you get ripped off, you get something fake, you get soap, or you get, you know, baking soda, you know, instead of whatever, cocaine, you know what I'm saying? Maybe you could get that kind of reality, you know?
Yeah, well, exactly. So in some sense, there will be a market for this stuff. And you know who will be selling this stuff? You know who the drug dealers will be? It'll be Facebook. It'll be these companies in the metaverse that are selling these digital drugs. But you're correct, right? So they will have safeguards in place, because, you know, they don't want people ODing in the metaverse because it's bad PR, right? Not because they don't. Again, let me reiterate exactly what I just said. Not because somebody croaks. That's not their, you know, number one concern. Sorry if I'm being a little crass there, but it seems like with Instagram they don't give a damn about teen suicides, right? They don't give a damn about that. So my point is that they wouldn't really care. They would care about the bad PR. So you don't want to have a digital overdose happen in the metaverse, or everybody's going to freak out. It's going to be like the Satanic Panic digital style 2022, not 1985, 2025, right? But in those terms, though, once you start thinking ahead in like, okay, so you were correct. If there's a market, there's going to be a black market to maybe cut prices to get, you know, maybe not the purest beat, but like, you know, maybe like a beat with some resonance that causes not just the high itself, the hallucinations, but also maybe some sort of other effect, right? That's kind of riding the edge of like bad. You know what I mean? And I think that's the craziness here, right?
Maybe they'll have maybe they have a virtual fentanyl, that's way too strong, or way too negative, or a ketamine that puts you in some kind of a K-hole, or you just like go somewhere that you don't want to be. You have like a bad trip, like there'll be something that will make you go somewhere where you didn't want to go. That's not pleasant. That you don't see things that are good, that you just see negative things, or there's somebody that messes with your head. There's that one person that's like always feeding you negative energy and making you have like, virtual nightmares or virtual horrors, I mean, you could have a good trip or a bad trip with it. They're not all good necessarily,
That's for sure. Again, like, I don't know, I don't have personal experience with that, so I'm not the best expert in that regard. But what I'm saying is that I've heard those things, right? People have good trips, they have bad trips. There's everywhere in between, and so as a result, then, I don't know. Is it desirable to have a bad trip once in a while? You know what I mean? I don't know. I just don't know.
What it's like. I think it would be fun though to try all the things that you never did try. Just to see what it was like, and not have any of the side effects, or, to come out of it clean, you wouldn't be worse for wear. You could just go for 5 minutes and experience it, and, have the application just, auto, shut off, It makes you, you get like the straight app, you just press that button and you're suddenly straight and you're clear-headed.
I love it. I love it. I'd love to get a little buzz without getting the hangover. I don't get hangovers anymore because pro skills.
Or the calories.
Or the calories. Yeah, the calories. Yeah, the dead calories will kill you, right? That's the thing. I think like Matt said in the chat too, and I agree with him. He said you're onto something. That maybe this is sort of a cleaner way to maybe tickle that dopamine hit that everybody's chasing, And but then there's been these experiments too where they have like these the monkeys in the experiments where they give them like the dopamine button where they can kind of actually just hit it, and it's kind of like akin to like snorting a line of cocaine. It's like that much dopamine gets squirted into their brain, And so what they were doing, these monkeys were able to control it, and just with the press of a button, they learned that they got like instantly like crazy euphorically high smashing the button. And what they did, these monkeys did, is they just became ridiculously addicted and didn't do anything else and just smashed this button over and over and over again until it killed them. So, I mean, right? So at some point, it's like there's going to be that sort of thing where we come into it that's where we have a problem. Right? There's going to be a problem, right? So I don't know. So what does a digital drug overdose look like? And that would be sort of what it would be. Instead of an actual like direct dopamine hit with a button and like something wired up to your brain, instead it would be this binaural beat and these tones in your head that people do too often too fast. So I don't know.
I think you'd have to program it that it wouldn't be possible to do that. You can only get a certain amount of dosage per hour or something. Only a safe amount. I mean, like they do that in the hospital when they give you an opium drip. When you have a serious pain injury from surgery. They only let you do it like once every 8 minutes, so you can't overdose on it.
Yeah.
It's already programmed.
Yeah. Well, but that's where like we're talking about sort of that those safeguards will be broken down, and they'll have a black market of binaural beats to plug in, right? To kind of get around the safeguards. Anyway, I'm just saying like that's just the way markets work, right? So either they'll
you could get hacked, and somebody could hack your computer and decide to overdose you.
Yeah.
Like they see you're getting high, and then suddenly they're going to just like hack into you and give you an overdose, some kind of, what do you call them? Trolls, you know what I mean?
Yes, exactly. And so the craziest part about that is that's why I brought up the Havana syndrome a little bit earlier. It would be similar, wouldn't it? I mean, in terms of just like a basic concept of, okay, we have these audio sounds that are sort of smashing into your brain to create this altered brain state. But then if you can control that and weaponize it somehow, then you end up being able to hurt people. Yeah, it's wild. It's wild, Daryl. I don't know. We're going to keep talking about this. There's all kinds of stuff to get into tonight. I got tons of stuff to keep on trucking. So I appreciate the phone call. Got somebody right behind you. So let's get a final thought. You're welcome to stay right where you're at, as you know.
I just guess everything in moderation, just
There
like
you go.
life.
There you go. Everything in moderation. Just, well said, Daryl. Well said. Daryl here, a good friend of mine, has a good friend of the show, has a YouTube channel. Check it out. Links in the description. She sings in English and French, and you can check out her YouTube channel. Please do. Good stuff, Daryl. Thank you for the phone call. Just mute up and stay right where you're at, and you can listen from there, and I'll try and make it the best experience I can for you. What do you guys think? The DMT Metaverse, digital drugs, machine elves. What's going on with this? What does a digital drug overdose look like? 702-957-1037. I'm not exactly... Oh, it looks like Crystal Shaman. Welcome to Troubled Minds. How are you tonight?
Hi, Michael. I'm okay. How are you?
Doing very well. What are your thoughts here? You think that we're onto something, or is this just way off the rails?
Well, I called in to share some information about someone that I knew who, because to me, whatever you do in one aspect affects all of the aspects, even if it is via virtual reality, any kind of what you would call, I don't even know the right word for it.
That would be it. Virtual reality. The metaverse, right?
Well, like all of the technologies they have now that you can, just like the virtual reality, although that's virtual, you are affected physically,
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the whole point, right? So what's the point of having a virtual reality at all ever if it doesn't affect you physically? Meaning it reduces stress, or can kind of take the edge off anxiety, or give you a fun time, or you know what I mean, things like this. So like the whole point of having something like that, or video games, or anything, or even a talk show for that matter, is sort of able to maybe a way to blow off steam, right? Like physical steam. And so maybe, yeah. I mean, I think you're definitely onto something in that it has to affect you physically at some point, because our brain is what affects us, our body and soul, right?
Right. It would affect you spiritually, physically, on every aspect, not just one. But I say this because what I'm wanting to share is about someone that I knew, because anything that is done, like I was saying earlier, all the frequencies are known. The frequencies are known how to affect people in a bad way, in a good way, in whatever way. Just like LRAD, all of those technologies. Well, so anything can be simulated, I guess, by the virtual reality and other technologies. However, like I said, it goes across the board. So even in the physical world, so my friend in the UK, who, his YouTube channel is still up, and this was what I was talking about in the chat earlier. Okay, so this person, he started out in life and, got into trouble. He went to prison. I think he was in prison for about 3 or 4 years. He used that time to educate himself on spiritual matters. And even the prison that he was in gave him an award because he used his time to educate himself. So he gets out. So now he has expanded his spiritual knowledge. And, he also did other things to him was expanding his spiritual knowledge. Now, I haven't done these things. I'm like you, Michael. I haven't experimented Like, and I'm not saying anything bad about that. Each person has their own path to walk. But he would experiment with things to expand his mind. And, you know what I'm saying. So, mushrooms, whatever. But, I mean, he didn't do this all the time, just sometimes. So he did a particular thing sometimes, and it was what Daryl mentioned earlier. I'm not going to say the name of it because I don't want your show to get axed.
Thank you.
It's
Appreciate that.
Ketamine.
Okay.
That one.
Okay.
So he had done that before, no problems. But then he did it, and it made him vulnerable. It opened him up to something attaching to him, and this is horrifying. He's in the UK, I'm here, his life is falling apart, and he believes he has something attached to him. And he's telling me details about this. And his girlfriend left him. And I said, get her on the phone, I'll talk to her. This was last year in June.
Okay, so
we're in the middle of this pandemic and all this. I said, you and her need to be together. Everyone needs to be together in this horrifying time we're going through. And, but she left him, and that was it. And she wasn't coming back. So in any case, I tried to help him with what I knew, but, I'm no expert in the bad entity situation. So he told me so many details about it. And then, because we communicated on Hangouts and because we're in different countries. And then I didn't hear from him. And my last message was, message me back like tomorrow or the next day and let me know how you're doing. Well, he took his own life.
That's horrible. That's horrible. I'm sorry
and
to
I
hear
found
about
this out from someone on YouTube. It's horrifying.
Yeah, that's not
and
good.
I still don't know what happened to him. But, I think what happened to him was real. This thing did exist.
We're running out of time here, so let me just ask you this question, and you're welcome to stay, by the way, because we can transition off the radio and keep you if you want to talk for a little longer. You're definitely welcome. So let me ask you. So you're saying that because of this sort of maybe let's call it a demon called addiction, like there was an attachment that was maybe a paranormal attachment as well, is what you're saying here?
What I'm saying is when you take something that alters you, it also alters your protection, and it makes you vulnerable.
I see. Okay.
And these things have a way to get in because now you've made yourself vulnerable. And he literally told me because maybe someone there knew he planned on taking this, but he told me that he felt like he had been tricked, like one of his friends maybe had this thing attached to them and somehow sent it to him. I don't know.
Yeah, impossible to say. Do you want to hang around for another couple minutes here until we get off the radio?
Sure.
Okay, stay right there. I'm going to mute you. I'll come back and get you just one moment. Thanks for being patient. That's Crystal Shaman on YouTube. And so the question is, right, as we continue, and, we have to get off the radio here, but in the end, what do you think about digital drugs? That's the most important thing. You think there is something here, like Crystal Shaman was explaining, that it does alter you, mind, body, and soul, and maybe allows something to attach through that lack of protection. I think it's a great point. I think it's fantastic to talk about and think about these things. Again, thanks for being part of this show. Thanks for hanging out with us. You guys are the best. As we finish, be sure, be strong, be true. If you're listening to us on The Fringe FM, stay tuned for Joe Roop Lighting the Void. If you're listening to us on any other platform, stay tuned for a third hour of Troubled Minds. Thank you for listening. From our Troubled Minds to yours, have a great night. All right, welcome back to Troubled Minds. We're going to keep on trucking here. We're on the phone with Crystal Shaman, so I'm going to just cut the break, and we'll take the break after her phone call, and then there you go. Still looking to hear from you guys. What do you think about this idea of digital drugs in the metaverse, known as binaural beats, and again, altering brainwave states with sound is what we're talking about here. So 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037, and we'll put you on the show. Going to kill this music and get right back to Crystal Shaman from YouTube. Let's do it. Welcome back, my friend. You're on Troubled Minds again. Go right ahead with your thoughts. So you're saying that there's your protection is altered because these drugs alter everything about you, and so whether it be like a holy state of protection or a spiritual state of protection, it affects that and sort of allows some other things in, right? And again, like I kind of said, I don't mean to be artistic about a dark thing, but what I mean is that demon called addiction, right? There's the demon called deception, and there's all those 7 deadly sins sort of ideas as demons themselves. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Yes. Well, I wouldn't call him an addict because he didn't do anything on a regular basis, so I don't know that word would apply, but, it's just that when you do something unnatural, because it's my understanding that particular thing he took is actually chemically created. It's not even a natural thing, Imagine you have your aura around your body. Well, it will make holes in the aura, and things can get through.
Okay, I follow you. I get what you're saying. Okay, and so you think that's what happened to this guy, to the friend of yours?
Yeah, plus I do think, because he told me he felt like he had been tricked and by someone he knew, and I knew enough about, he knew a lot of people worldwide. He interviewed people worldwide. He did a lot of, great things. And, I kind of have an idea of who could have been connected, but, I don't know for sure. That's just my opinion and my thoughts based on what I knew. But, the thing was a bad thing. And, I have a friend here in the States that I shared the information with and read some of his communications to me about this particular entity, and she knew who it was. She sent me a link with that entity's name and the information on him. I was like, oh my gosh, this is like far worse than I ever thought. And I felt so horrible that I was unable to help him, on top of everything else. To know someone is going through these things and you're trying to help them and you're like countries away, and then that happens, and it's the last person in the world that you think would take their own life, But I understand the situation he was in, So, what is the solution to that? I don't know. Because now you've got some bad things going on,
Yeah, exactly. Fantastic point here. Matt adds in the chat, he says, if you do drugs, you lose your psychic shield. And I hadn't heard that before. So that's
right.
Yeah, interesting. Okay. So that's actually something.
It makes your aura have holes, literally.
Okay. I hadn't heard that. So that's, again, something new to me. And we'll add it to the conversation tonight and see if anybody else knows anything about this. I appreciate your phone call. Thank you so much for listening and being there on the chat all the time and so enthusiastic about the show and being so kind to everybody. And I'm very sorry for your loss of your friend. That's horrific. That's not, again, you can't... no words fix that, but I can at least give you some words and say that I'm sorry for your loss. I'm sorry for your loss. Thank you for the phone call.
Some of the people on YouTube who were supposed to be his friends, they talked bad about him after this. And I said, but you don't know what was going on. You don't have any concept of what he was going through. So in any case, I'll let you go, Michael. Thank you so much, and much love to everyone.
You as well. Thank you for calling. Thank you for sharing this story. Have a fantastic night. That's Crystal Shaman on YouTube there, and I could ask her where she found us, like I normally do for a first-time caller, but she's on YouTube already, so I know she found us there. So I don't know, like this. That's another terrifying notion here. If we're considering the idea of this digital drug as it somehow maybe breaks down that psychic shield, or like a our friend there, Crystal Shaman, just said that there's a breakdown of your aura somehow. Well, maybe that's what's going on with this. I don't know. It's a terrifying notion that, again, right, if this thing does actually affect you, mind, body, and soul, then addiction, meaning that yeah, it could be pretty this could be a really, really dark thing. And then again, link back to what Nightstalker was saying. You sort of have the this situation where you're, the vessel's there. It's sort of vacant. Your vacant vessel, because all of your consciousness is basically in real time, sort of engaging with all of its faculty into some other space, some other realm. So terrifying. Like these are pretty terrifying ideas that are. Wow. What are you guys' thoughts on this and everything else? Still talking the DMT, Metaverse, digital drugs, and machine elves, and all the rest of this. Thank you again to Crystal Shaman for the phone call. I appreciate that very much. And once again, I'm sorry for your loss. This is just terrible stuff, right? And this is what I mean. So like this digital drug stuff, where, well, Daryl said, there could be some good things to this. I think, per usual, everything is going to be a double-edged sword, right? Everything's going to be both sides, and that's what's up. So what are your thoughts? We're going to keep on talking about this. What about the machine elves? What about binaural beats? We'll get into some of that stuff. I got what Alex Jones thinks about this. I got some clips to play from him. But of course, more. Always, I'd rather hear from you guys and see what you think. I just have to try and make sure I got enough content to fill up the whole show if nobody calls. But I got tons of stuff to talk about. So what are your thoughts? This DMT, Metaverse, digital drugs, machine elves. Is this a better thing? Is this a bad thing? Is this too much to tell at this point? 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Don't go anywhere. More Troubled Minds, DMT, Metaverse, digital drugs, and machine elves when we return. Be right back. All right, welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we are streaming on Rockfin, YouTube, DLive, and Twitter, and we're taking your phone calls as we discuss this idea of a digital drug. All right, they're calling this actual binaural beat. I'm sure you guys have heard this term, right? Where you get one tone in one ear, another tone in the other ear. And what your brain does is it actually creates a third tone based on the two. And it is enough to alter your brain states. And there's a lot to this in that they said the ancients actually used this technique with Stonehenge and with some of these other Neolithic sites, where they think that through maybe drumming or chanting in some particular fashion, that the acoustics, they actually call it archaeoacoustics, it actually was able to maybe replicate some of these ideas that we're talking about with this binaural beat, right? So we're not talking about it in those terms. Yes, of course, a little bit. We'll get to that if you guys want to talk about that. But more importantly, of course, if we're talking about a digital drug and a altered brain state based on audio, just simple audio, then we have a serious problem, because we're starting to fit people into a weird, I don't know, like this weird digital space, which is known as the metaverse. And that's where this is headed, right? So if we're talking about actual digital drugs in that sense, and, I'm wearing headphones, right? Like these are kind of crappy $10 headphones. I like them because they're small. I don't have this big, huge Princess Leia thing going on. I like them because they have a super long cord, so I can walk away and not trip myself, right? But right, like there are really, really nice sets of headphones and audio equipment that can actually be able to do those things, and like actually through those binaural beats really sort of break those brain states and take them to different places, crazy places. Again, DMT machine elves and all the rest of this stuff. It's so wild. I copy that, James. One sec. Be right with you. Let's see. What's up, Enoch? I see there, Enoch. I appreciate that. Thank you for sharing that information. So I don't know. Like what does this mean, right? We're talking about this idea that not just in the metaverse, right? We're able to sort of alter brain states through this audio binaural beat sort of situation, but now we're talking about a digital buzz. We joked in the past, like just several weeks back, even about the digital orgasm, right? The digigasm, or the digital beer. It was sort of a joke, but now suddenly it seems like all the brands of the world have turned exactly to this, knowing full well, right? If you can't get a buzz in the metaverse, you're going to get a buzz somewhere else. And so, what is this? It becomes a race for altering your consciousness. It becomes and you're like, hey, like the world is not a drug dealer, Mike. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. As they race for altering your brain state. Yeah, you're damn right they are. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on this? 702-957 1037. Got lots of stuff to get to, lots of stuff to play. Alex Jones's take on this, by the way. We got that to get to. But before we do that, let's go to my good friend James Salcedo of Salcedo Paranormal Podcast. What's up, brother? Welcome to Troubled Minds. How you doing tonight?
I'm okay. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Thanks for the sound check. Always very pro, my friend. What do you think about this idea? Have you heard of this one yet? Digital drugs?
Not through the news, not through any actual sources online or anything like that. But I'm just thinking in terms of sound, and if you think of, I think you were talking about this earlier, or maybe even just now, when you wear headphones, that's two devices. That's a device on either side of your head that is sending in vibrations that I could very easily see them changing your brain in different ways.
Yeah, easily. And again, right, back to the MK Ultra stuff, they say that some of the MK Ultra triggers for people, sort of the Manchurian Candidate type stuff, was not just phrases, but possible audio tones. And so they've dug deep into this, and like the government sellers of the past, and who knows what DARPA's doing now. And that becomes a terrifying thing if they can actually control people with sound and just, like you said, simply vibration. And the human experience is unique, of course, in that we do have a left ear and a right ear, and both of those sounds kind of give us that spatial acuity, the recognition of if we hear something behind us or to the right of us, it's 360 degree surround sound in reverse because we're picking it up, right? But in those cases, well, if you can use this as, again, a drug or a weapon or something in between or worse or better, it becomes terrifying, doesn't it? This notion of playing sounds in your ear, vibrating your basically eardrums to send a particular tickle to your brain in just the right way. I mean, like Daryl said, this could be good, but this could also be terribly, terribly bad, right?
Yeah, I think it could be definitely, like Daryl said, good. That my issue with any technology is what it always is. It's the focus of the companies making it, and like you said earlier, they don't care about people individually. From everything that I've noticed over the years, so of course it'd be great, and maybe there will be fail-safe settings for different things, different amounts of time limits for things, but the thing is, not everyone is going to basically let those be as they should, or companies will, and maybe even companies and or governments around the world, not even just saying anyone in particular, but just any kind of organization that has an agenda may find a way into that software and then just change it. And then there goes your failsafe.
Yeah, or like we said, sort of black market sort of situations, undercutting or bypassing safeguards because it's not a good enough buzz. You know what I mean? Like, the Facebook drugs are good, but the buzz isn't good enough. So let's go to the digital Silk Road or whatever and get the black market stuff that bypasses the safeguards and really rattles your cage. Like that's the type of stuff that'll start happening. It's happening now in like the real world with real drugs, not just again like Crystal Shaman was saying. It's not organic stuff. This is synthetic stuff. So we're talking about synthetic stuff in terms of not just synthetic, now synthetically audio digital. I mean, it's unbelievable where we've come like in the last 30 years. Like that. Holy crap, man. Welcome to the craziest world you could ever imagine, right?
Yeah, this makes me think of, in a way, of just in a visual sense of extensions on web browsers. That's what these ideas kind of remind me of, is people could basically sign up, and like you said, the digital black market, it almost seems like they could just be extensions that you would just go and pick up online. And of course, some are free, but then others, I'm sure they cost money. So, and I could just see that being extended to the extensions to the same degree and to even greater degrees on these headsets or in these. The whole idea of those pods, basically, the idea of this being in a container that was originally maybe a sensory deprivation kind of tank kind of thing, to it being instead turned into what would basically be a sensory overload tank.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a 1,000 ways to do this too, which is super terrifying. A quick comment here in the chat, which strikes us exactly crazy. The Gateway Project from Monroe Institute, from Crystal Shaman, is used to biohack people's brains. I have the document where Monroe shared it with the military, and so the question becomes, I'm glad Crystal Shaman called and brought that up as well. So at what point is a digital drug crossing the line to like a CIA biohack, right?
Yeah, and then of course, eventually that would lead, I think, or could lead to just countless people in their own homes or in maybe even almost like a Matrix kind of style room. I mean, if you're in one of those pods, then it'd almost be like you wouldn't even have to be out of it. So I could see people. It'd almost be like an easier way to. I could see it almost being like there being these bays or these rooms full of these things, and people just living there in these pods, attached to VR 24/7, and it's almost like they could maybe even see it as like, oh, we're saving money here. We're just doing everything inside VR. So we don't need a huge mansion. We don't need mansions anymore, or huge houses.
No,
I mean,
there's your
all
great
you need
reset,
is just
James.
the right pod.
Yeah, your great reset. Like, hey, the most comfortable pod ever. Go ahead and lay down in this sensory deprivation tank. Put on your goggles. We've got the Bose speakers on the left and right that'll give you the best digital high you've ever had in your life. Get it. Get it.
That'd be the new kind of real estate right there.
The luxury pod. Jeez. Yeah. And this is where this is headed, right? Like some of that stuff is terrifying. Again, like the using chemicals on your skin to simulate heat and cold, right? The smell-o-vision to build into the Oculus or VR headsets or whatever the hell they're using now. Like at some point, it's going to be full on the Matrix. You're exactly right. You're going to get in like your full body suit, which will be able to stimulate your senses from your head to your toe, and then you're going to get into this sensory deprivation tank with these just booming speakers and this. Welcome to the real metaverse. Holy shit!
Yeah, but of course, no one will be hurt. They will never release too many chemicals or have the volume too high. No, that'll never happen. Everything will be perfectly safe.
Yeah, no, it should be fine. This should be fine. Right? Yeah. This is good. This is good. And yeah, I don't know. So I think where do we go? Right? What's this is just happening, right? This is just, they're calling it again. You know, so some people back in the chat said, no, this is just music. This is not drugs. But at some point, once you manipulate the audio just right, if you get the same effect of drugs anyway, it's even if it's not exactly, it's kind of the same thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, sound. We know sound can it can be great, but it can also just as easily hurt. You know, you turn again. I just come back to you. This is probably just me because my ears are so sensitive anyway. But just coming back to the idea of sounds, they can hurt. And if you're putting those things on either side of your head and then trusting whatever app or program or whatever to work just right, that's scary to me.
That's scary, and especially if they can control you with it, and again, and damage you with it. I think that's the craziest part here. Like I said, does a digital drug overdose look like people afflicted with Havana syndrome and brain damage, and maybe just switching off the brain, right? Like maybe it could be something to that effect. It's bad. It's bad. This is not like this is if you can easily damage people, sort of by accident, this is not a good thing. So we'll see. We'll see where this heads. What do you know about the machine elves and DMT, James?
Not much, just what I've heard online. But it is. I find that ironic in a way that something like that can be simulated. So it does make me wonder if people who have had these experiences before, if they were just tapping into some kind of a alternate future where this is already happening. Maybe the machine elves they're seeing are not even necessarily from another dimension. They're just seeing into some kind of a future, which again, not to say that these are bad things. I've heard mixed about all of that, but I do think it's that's a whole other aspect of the VR thing is what you're going to be getting in touch with, in contact with, in terms of other beings, kind of like what Derek was saying earlier. That's a whole beyond just the regular stuff, the regular things that these devices can do to you. Even if they work as they intended, then what if that leads you to make contact with something that isn't so nice?
Yeah, exactly. And like Crystal Showman said, maybe we have this situation where if you can sort of pare down sort of a spiritual shield of sorts through these digital drugs, maybe this is opening people up to kind of what Derek described as your empty vessel is sitting there with your entire consciousness poured into these goggles or whatever. Then you sort of are kind of open for that walk-in situation, right? I'm sure you've heard of walk-ins being the troubled minds paranormal expert, right?
Yeah, I've heard of similar things, and and just getting back to that, the idea of your aura or your defenses being reduced by different drugs and other things. I've heard that about different drugs. I've heard that about even to great if you go with anything, I guess, especially like drugs or any other substances, even like alcohol. I've heard stories of people that are sensitive working in bars and restaurants, literally being able to sense different beings just appear in the bar, and then they basically go and make contact with people that are sitting there drinking, way too much at one time, and even being possessed in some cases. I've heard this on different podcasts before, where the person will get there and be acting one way, and then the person that's sensitive that's working there will see something go into them, basically, or hover right by them, and they'll start acting like a totally different person. Yeah. And then eventually, after so long, whatever this is will just kind of float away or disappear, and the person will act like they're confused and they don't know what is going on or what they were doing. It's definitely there, and that's just compared to basically death, that's just a low level or a small scale version of the worst possible scenario.
Yeah. And this is again a mindfuck in so many ways, where you're like, what does this mean? What's the next step of this? Have they already been, these companies, working in some capacity to actually distribute these binaural beats as a sort of hallucinogen, way to change your mind state? I mean, this is nuts. Like, if this is the next step of shit, like, my God, to say that it's a conspiracy now to that, the world's been manipulated to control us. It's like, well, what the fuck is that? That's exactly what that is. It's manipulating sound through a commercial viability in laboratories to do exactly what? To manipulate us under the guise of capitalism. And we're going to sell you something you want, right? As long as they package it as something you want and they can make you buy it without forcing it on you, it's all good, isn't it, James? Hey, capitalism, sell the thing. It's fine. Hey, not too many people should die. And it is weird too, in terms of Facebook, like I always talk about, and Instagram, and how many, there's no ticker on the screen for how many suicides because it's Facebook or Instagram, because of course, how many billions are they making because of it, right? It's but you notice on the other side for the the pandemic, they were making a ton of money on the vaccines. So instead, they have the alternate where they just should tell you everybody that dies, tick tick tick, basketball score. It's funny, right? You follow the money, follow the funny money, and that's where you get it. It's not even a step or two, and you find yourself in this weird spot, going, "Wow, this is the world we live in."
Yeah. They only tell you about the bad stuff when they want you to be afraid.
Exactly, because of course the bad stuff is social media in many cases, and they don't want you to be afraid of that. They want you to use it. They want you to click in. They want you to be a part of it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and when I say bad stuff, I mean it can be any number of things. Whether it's the actual things that are going on, or things that they just want you to think are going on. And I don't mean that just in the example you're giving. I mean that in just any example.
Very, very well. Very good. Very good. I love it. As always, James with a unique take, because he's a unique dude. And I appreciate you very much, my friend. What else you got for us tonight?
That was it.
Okay, good stuff. James here, Salcedo Paranormal. He's our. We're just rolling with it. He's you say things enough. You say the famous Liam Martin. Liam Martin becomes famous. We're going to say James, the paranormal expert of troubled minds. You can find his paranormal podcast called Salcedo Paranormal. He goes 5 nights a week. Links in the description. Give him some love. Go follow his channel. Go follow his YouTube, his podcast. Do give him a follow. Go say hi. Join his Discord. All the rest of that. Always a pleasure, James. You're the best, my friend. If you want to stay right there, if it's more convenient, you're welcome to.
Yeah, I'll stay in, and then we'll see if I can come up with anything else later. We'll see what happens.
Right on. Sounds good. Appreciate it very much. Looking to hear from you guys. What about this idea of the DMT metaverse? Can you take digital drugs and synthesize them through binaural beats to replicate the DMT experience and meet machine elves in the metaverse? 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Let's go to Kelly in Colorado. What's up, Kelly? How are you, my friend?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Go right ahead. Let me make sure. We got an echo. Yeah, I think my side's good. Maybe take it off speaker. But go ahead.
Let me turn this fan off.
It's getting hot. Hey, Kelly, if you're going to call into this show, you got to sweat. You got to earn it. Ready when you are. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubleminds.org. We'll put you on the show. Easy as that. Be chill in the chat, guys. Be easy with each other. Again, like I said, it's easy to know all the things, but then also you also don't know what other people are going through. So please lead with kindness. Like I said, if things get sour, I will not hesitate. All right. So make sure we treat each other with respect. I just want to make sure, clarify, all right? So I'm not following every word here, but please be respectful of each other. That's literally the number one rule. Literally the number one rule, okay? All right. Are you there, Kelly?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Sound great, man. Go right ahead. What do you think about this? You ever heard of digital drugs?
No, but I'm going to take it into another aspect of this too, though, because the whole audio acoustics that they're using to modify, like one, one's higher than the other one, for example, right? That's more or less what they're saying, and it's going to cause an effect within the brain, which will give you the feeling of being high, which I would believe that if they're doing that through acoustics, they're actually affecting it. So there's got to be a middle point where these two acoustic sounds are meeting, right? So for me, if you're like yourself wearing earphones or those big earphones that you're wearing, the middle part is going to be where your pineal gland's at. So to me, it sounds like you could overdose on something like that. They're not going to, I don't believe they're going to be able to control that, right? Even if that was to be able to hit the streets and go like underground, like you're saying, you could kill people, because the reason for that is if you can adjust that acoustic sound, which kind of rattles the pineal gland, or even the other gland that's inside the brain, I can't remember right now, but they all produce chemicals that are very powerful as well, that'll actually get you high or even into that realm. Because just like it's like a DMT. Kind of like you're saying, when they say when you pass, before you pass, those are released within your brain. But if they're able to do that, number one, it should be legal, because DMT is not even legal to, especially here in the United States, to be even taken anyway. You have to go into you have to fly into these other countries, like you're saying, and you have to meet up with people, stay there. It's kind of like what they call retreats, and then but those are actually used for other purposes, not for a gaming situation where you're going to control via some audio sound waves, acoustic, ultrasound, microwaves, whatever they're going to be using. Any kind of waveform is going to cause a ripple effect. If you use that, it's just kind of like if you had two tuning forks, and they got two different sounds, you kind of put them together. They're going to see, if you was to see that in water, like in the Navy, you're going to see it's kind of like those waves that they call, when they're smashing together like that, they're going to create like a rogue wave. And if that opens up your pineal gland and releases those chemicals like that, man, then you could be killed by your own self. That's pretty, I don't agree with that, you know what I mean? For example, I want to just go ahead and read a couple things on here, if you don't mind, before you get interjected in here. But
sure,
there's some this has been going on, just like you're saying. Kind of like the what was that thing that Tesla they were doing? They were, but this type of stuff is using through mind control. If you're doing that too, you can make like you're saying, the Manchurian candidates. But these patents, they're not only filed, but they're issued, right? So this one's US 3014477, and they call it a hypnotic inducer, which is mostly just a mind control. And that was filed in 56 and issued in 61. Another one, and it's crazy, these names that they're using, the US patent 306-07595. It's an apparatus for producing visual stimulations on a subconscious transmission through a movie film. And that was filed in 58 and issued in 62. Now, the other ones are DDS, auditorial stimulations. That one was in 58 and issued in 66. I mean, every year they just get worse and worse, the more, so they've been messing around with this since the 50s. Now, and the other one is US 339-93279, which is a nervous system relaxation device, which a nervous system asphyxiation device, right? So again, they're messing with the brain. If they're going to be able to do that, it's just like sounds. Like you ever see like these guys, if they're turning that stuff up and it's that close to your ears, that acoustic, that subliminal message that they're going to be sending can be very powerful, man. Or even, like I said, open up your pineal gland. That's not what you want happening, especially if they're calling it a DMT effect. That shit's illegal. Again, that's, that you're going to kill somebody by doing that.
Yeah, just to clarify, so the DMT effect is my way to basically take this to the end of where it will head, right? So nowhere in this instance and in the articles I brought up are they discussing this idea of binaural beats replicating a DMT experience. Okay, so they're just saying that like you could somehow, some way replicate and alter brain states to replicate like a beer buzz, right? Things like this. It's basically like those types of things. And so me knowing me, I'm like, okay, so let's fine. Like Daryl said, there might be some good things about this. You cut the beer calories out and I still get my beer buzz, right? Or whatever, people that smoke or this, that, the other thing. But then if you take it to the next level and the next level and the next level, that's how we got here. So that's me. The escalation is me. Nobody out there said this. But if I'm thinking it, you got to know somebody else is thinking it too, right?
But again, at the same situation that these things they've been playing for. This is, for me, I believe it's mind control. That's what it is. It's not giving you a buzz, but it is. But it's control. Like I said, if you got two acoustic waves and you have to have a middle point, a meeting point, obviously it's in the brain.
It's the brain.
So you're going to have.
Yeah.
You're going to have some kind of mind control. They've been doing this shit and everything I've read you, and I'll share it on Discord. It's a lengthy list of all these patents. And the last one that it gathered up was when in like 2003 and 2002, and again that one is used in acoustic and visual stimulation to with all this with it, and it tells you these are more or less mind control. That's why I don't know, man. It's when I look at sometimes you look at the news and you hear some weird shit. Like here in Colorado, they had a couple guys just walking into and this is terrible stuff. What I'm going to mention, but. These guys would just walk out of nowhere, and it's not really drugs, you know what I mean? It's not, they don't really find any drugs in their bodies, but they're going in and they're doing, mass murders or mass shootings and stuff, just weird, strange shit out of the blue. And even people, that their families, you always hear them like, man, I never see it in them, I don't see how. But a lot of these guys are, I'm not saying that it's bad either, but like you got a lot of these kids nowadays, and within these generations, they're a lot of them are gamers, and if they're using a lot of this stuff, like Discord and stuff too, though, the way they're talking with each other in these games control, that they're all, and that shit's pumping loud in those headphones. I'm pretty sure they're using, they're practicing with that shit anyway.
Yeah,
they've got to be.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like because engagement is everything, right? You want people to come back. You want that addictive hook that brings them back. And if it you can be altered through, I don't know, the explosions of the virtual battlefield, that maybe that stuff's already happening. You may be onto something there, yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, like I'm just waiting for someone to invent like the holodeck. You know what I mean? Where like Star Trek, where everything is a virtual realization. I mean, feeling pain and everything. For I'm just waiting for that. That's probably the next step too. But man, yeah, something like that. It's. I mean, like again, I wouldn't even trust it because for me, looking at all the patents and the rabbit holes that I've been down and seen. I mean, you can. Everybody can go down those. You check out those patents and stuff. There's all these other secret programs they've been doing. And for the whole thing to happen, it's just like, we've talked about too, everything they want to do is Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, something that you can't see. And that's everything's like routers and stuff. And now everything they want is your smart computers, your smart TVs, fridges, all this other stuff. So yeah, man, it's a slow, it's like I said, it's acoustic ultrasound microwave that they've been practicing and probably using this stuff. And just like you were saying too, even with that syndrome, right? That could be exactly what that could be. It's an acoustic wave. You're not really, you can turn it down where it's low frequency and for long terms, and then it'll still have the same effect if you try to blast it. But I'm pretty sure if they want to be sneaky about it, that's one way to do it. But yeah, man, it's a pretty crazy idea right here.
Welcome to the crazy world, right? May you live in interesting times. Well, fuck, we hit the jackpot. Yeah, and so I don't know. Like, I don't know how this is going to develop, right? But again, like I said, if you can't serve somebody a beer in the metaverse, right? And I mean that in like the most sort of goofball way. in that you can't like smash 10 beers and then go into the metaverse. You could, but right, like if they can serve sort of a similar experience inside the metaverse, and like Daryl said, with no calories and with no actual detrimental effect to the body itself, at least there's your upsale point, right? Like 0 calorie beer buzz, right? Like would you pay $1 per digital, right? Like whatever to make that happen for 10 minutes, or you know what I'm saying? Like that's the craziest part. It becomes appealing, doesn't it? It becomes like, okay, like that seems harmless. That seems like, I'm here drinking some beer anyway. Let's zip into the hey, by the way, guys, if I'm ever streaming this show and I'm wearing VR goggles, just fucking leave. Don't come back. Just don't fucking come back. All right. I'm asking you now, please say, Mike, enough is enough. Enough is enough. But you get it, right? You get like how those types of things can sell easy. But then, like you said, it's just an invitation into your brain is all it is. And that's fucked. That's the fucked part.
Yeah, man, because again, even if you try to get like high, like, like she was saying that didn't know calories, I was listening to her, but at the same time, you will feel that hangover. Because again, if like you're saying, okay, no one said that, but let's just say that it goes down that road, right?
Sure.
And they're able to adjust the brain where these chemicals are being released. So the chemicals are still being released in your brain. It's not like it's not a feeling through a suit or anything. I could see that as well, though, because where that sensation of like being stung and stuff like by the fire, because there's some the essential oils. There's like even like what's a peppermint. If you ever had that on your skin, man, that feels just like that sensation. And if you have a lot, because I accidentally spilled some and I got some on my skin, like a lot of that stuff, because it's really concentrate. That shit burns. Yeah. But if you just get a light skin, like a light breeze of it, it's like that peppermint feeling where, yeah, it's pretty insane. But at the same, if we were going to that extreme, where we're saying that it's releasing chemicals within the brain, yeah, you're going to still get a hangover, because it's just like Molly, like you were saying, that those feelings, it's because it's forcing the body to extract that chemical from the brain, and that's how people get high. But if you're going to do that, and if you're doing through ultrasound waves, I'd say it would be the same feeling, because it's forcing that pineal gland, or those glands up there in the brain, to secrete those chemicals. But I just want to say too, before I get off to, I like your first saying when you first started with the maximum maybe juice. That's great.
Max, that's like what's that? What from Spaceballs? What's faster than warp speed? Ludicrous speed. We've gone plaid. Like maximum maybe juice. All right. Let's. I'll add that to the. I'm adding it right now to the idea of t-shirts for troubled minds. Maximum maybe juice. Good shit, man. Good shit. What else you got for us, my friend? Hello? Who was that?
I said, speaking of, where's my hat at? I need to order a hat, man.
Oh, sorry, it's coming. My bad. I got Jace hat that's out in the mail. Okay, promise, hell or high water this weekend, I'll have hats up for purchase, okay? I'll get you guys a link. Thank you for reminding me. This is what I'm saying, right? Like, if I don't get, like, pressure and, like, hey, I got so many things to do that other things fall by the wayside. But, yeah, for sure. I'll get that set up for us this weekend. Hell or high water, it's coming, okay?
All right, man. Sounds great.
Right on. Appreciate it, brother. What else you got? Anything else for us tonight?
No, that's it, man. I just want to add to some of that, because, again, I just been down this rabbit hole a few times, and it all goes the same thing. It's mind control. And if they're doing acoustic shit too, man, they want to, and they're trying to sell it in, it's a great salesmanship, you know what I mean? That people are, because there's a lot of hardcore gamers, and they, if they're, searching for something greater and bigger, that's why these games are getting more realistic, And that virtual, I played a couple times, and when I first did it, man, it first kind of gave me a fucking headache, but, you wear it a couple times, you kind of get used to the spinny feeling, but, it's still a trip, man. And if they're allowing that, to even come close to that, man, we're all in trouble.
Exactly, and I agree with you, and that's why I think it's important. You know me, I'm not a doom monger. I'm not saying this is the fucking end of the world and this is going to lead us to the devil or any of this shit. But what I am saying is like, be careful. Be careful. Once they start offering like digital beer buzzes and digigasms, be careful. Just be careful, because they are manipulating brain states, and without that being open source, and it never is, we don't know what they're actually fucking doing. So that's why we're talking about it tonight. So thank you for bringing up those old patents, because you're right. This shit's been going on for a very, very, very long fucking time. It's now rolling out as a consumer product. It's going to be like, okay, all right, well, all right. let's get a digital 6-pack and a digigasm. Shopping cart, go. Payment accepted. I mean, fuck, right? That sounds wild. That's ridiculous. You cut out, my friend.
So you guys have a good night.
You too, bro. Thanks a lot. There you go. That's Kelly in Colorado, a longtime friend of the show. Tell Michelle we said hello. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being part of this. And yeah, I don't know. As usual, right? So let's hear what Alex Jones has to say about this. I got some clips here I want to play for you guys. James, anything on that? James, we'll go James and then we'll go Daryl. Any comment on what Kelly said, James?
Yeah, the video game thing, I really find interesting, and I could see that the way so many games now, like Kelly was saying, you have when you're, especially the interactive games, the competitive games, people are wearing, again, their headsets, their headphones, with the microphone on it, so they can be talking back and forth. So I could see there being some kind of manipulation going on there through those. I'd always kind of, and I'm not saying this directly to that, but I'd always kind of push back against the whole video games being bad thing. But if they're doing that kind of thing, if there's companies or governments or whatever that are subtly putting stuff in the games, then yeah, that's definitely not good.
Not good. What about your digi 6-pack and your digigasm, James? You ready to punch it?
No, not so much.
Not so much. All right. Fair enough. Daryl, anything on that? If you're there.
Well, I was thinking, do you have a party with your friends and you all go onto your metaverses like at a party and you all get high on your virtual like drug? Or do you do this all alone? Or do you do this on Zoom?
Exactly.
Do you have like a Zoom?
Yep.
A Zoom party where you all get like high in the Zoom party and talk about, whatever. Maybe you could create music. Maybe, if you get like a marijuana type high, and you could like, maybe be creative. Sometimes people get creative. Sometimes they just get lazy, But you don't want to do it in public. I'm thinking you don't want to like go to a bar and then put on your virtual, metaverse drug intake, I think that would be like totally anti-social, you know what I mean? Like everybody else is doing real drugs and you're doing your virtual drugs, and it'd be like, I don't know, it'd be a little anti-social.
No, I think it's a valid point in that. So what we're doing is we're mixing reality and we're mixing meta reality into this weird concoction of where both come together in this hyper reality digital hybrid. It's so fucking weird. All this is so just like, well, imagine 100 years from now when we're all gone, what the world's going to be like. And like, look at the graphic I made tonight. Like, I think this is what the world's going to be like. Like, look at it, like the bizarre ass chessboard, and like maybe those chess pieces are like video games, and people are battling, and you got the machine elves popping up trying to talk to you and sell you some digital drugs, and then you got the little yellow monster like, hey, what's up, guys? I showed up to the party. Like, what the fuck? There you go. There's your future 100 years from now, Daryl. It's not going to be anything real. It's going to be all digital. You'll own nothing, and you'll be happy.
I think they're going to make some interesting movies about this, I think they might be making movies right out of your high, depending on what you're on. They might be able to illustrate it. And you could send somebody your experience. Like send me your trip. What was your trip like? Yeah, let me download it for you.
Exactly. So instead of uploading to YouTube, you'll be like, "Oh yeah, let me share you my latest digital DMT trip. Here you go." You're like, you bump fists in the metaverse, and you upload your shit to them, and they download it, and then they can watch your last trip that looks exactly like this: the crystal chessboard and the fucking monsters in the machine house. It's like, what the fuck?
So crazy,
here's the future, Daryl. Here's the future.
Yeah. I was so messed up last night. How messed up were you? Well, hold on. Let me email it to you. Let me send you a text. I'll text it to you. Text me your high, you know?
Exactly.
How high were you? Oh, I was so messed up. I can't believe what I did. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, what did I do? I regret it. Oh, God. What did I go home with? You know?
Right. Exactly. What kind of attachment did you take home with you, right? The hitchhiker effect in the digital world. Oh, God. All right. So, right. So go ahead.
Yeah, you could wind up in some kind of like an orgy, and you didn't even know how you got there. You were just high, and then somebody sent you a link, and you knew you were stoned, and they invited you to some crazy party, and you did some crazy stuff on Zoom, and it was videotaped, and now it's on your TikTok, and oh no, I was so messed up. I let them TikTok me, like, and it goes viral, and the family sees it, and they send it around your office, and like, oh no, you were so messed up, you didn't know. Then you get called in by your boss, and it's so embarrassing. We're going to give you a warning, but don't ever do that again. I know it was your day off, but you got to be discreet.
That's just happening now. They're like, Daryl, don't go into the metaverse with your avatar. You got to like be a carrot or something, so we don't know it's you.
Right. You got to hide your. You got to go into like a virtual, a virtual browser or a VPN, a private VPN, and an anonymous voucher. Oh God, yeah. You have to totally make up a fake avatar if you really don't want to get busted. Maybe you could just be like totally animated, just a cartoon character.
Yeah, exactly. Or you show up as the machine elf. You're like, hey, what's up, guys? I'm here to party with the rest of the machine elves on the crystal chessboard. What's that yellow monster doing here? Who invited that guy?
Monster. That's your monster. You keep bringing that monster in here. Get that monster out of here.
Yeah, I told you, leave the monster outside. Damn it, Daryl, leave the monster outside. Yeah, this is fucked.
He used to be fun to get high with, but he keeps bringing that monster. We used to love getting high with him, but nah, he's got all that baggage and, those creepy monsters, man.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know. Crazy stuff. What's up, Tam Bam? I see you there. What's up, Danny out there? Smurfer Girl, I saw you as well. Just in regards to the chat, guys. There was nothing egregious in the chat. I just caught like a couple of again out of context because I'm just scanning it. I can't read every word in there. I just want to remind everybody. That's all. There was no like pointed at anybody making accusations. I just want to remind everybody. Let's just be kind to each other in the chat. You never know who's on the other end. You never know what they've been through. Just that's all. I just wanted to remind you. Just lead with kindness, please. It's what this place is about. I'm not perfect. I know you're not perfect. It's just part of being human. But just a reminder, okay? I'd appreciate it very much. That's all. So not pointed at anybody. I promise you that. Just saying. Let's keep it chill. Let's respect each other and let's keep doing the thing. All right, I got a couple clips to play. I'm gonna you guys. On the Discord, I'm going to set it up so you guys can hear this. So mute up so you don't get the weird echo. But I'm going to play some clips. This is what Alex Jones said. I know you're getting along fine. Just saying. I'm just saying. Like I said, out of context, I don't know. I see a comment here or there, and I'm like, what is that all about? And it's probably fine. I just want to remind everybody. That's all. Okay, listen to this. This is Alex Jones talking about exactly this. But think about this in terms of now. He's talking about machine elves and DMT, that experience, and the CIA. Okay. Got a few clips here. We'll burn through these. But the craziest part is I'm taking this to the next level and saying, wait, what about digital DMT? But here we go. This is Alex Jones talking about this exactly. Listen here.
It turns out Philip K. Dick, I've talked to people that know his family well. The family, I'm going to just leave it at that. His house was broken into. He was being followed by the government. Family didn't believe it till they witnessed it. Dick lived in San Francisco, knew some of the Futurist Society people. Knew some of the the Organization of Psychedelic Research, which had a bunch of government connections. I'm not going to get into what they're interfacing with, but they believe they're in contact with off-world groups. I mean, this is what the government's into, folks. They're taking the DMT. They've got the black op commanders gobbling high-powered hallucinogens in. See, I don't even get into all this stuff. We're in trouble, ladies and gentlemen. We're in trouble. The clockwork elves, all of it, I shouldn't even get into it. But the issue here is that whether this stuff's real or not, the globalists think it is, and the elves are telling them, come on, join us, plug in, it's going to happen. People read Dick's stuff 30 years ago, and they go, how did it all come true? Because he had government connections, ladies and gentlemen. PKD was being fed this stuff, and he got several of his novels stolen and got threatened, and a lot of other stuff happened.
Okay, so he's talking about Philip K. Dick, of course. We've talked about him in the past, right? This is, which is Alex Jones every time. Yeah, he's on this. Check this out. He is on this game. And so he's talking about the CIA, Black Ops people actually taking DMT as a way to somehow communicate with these machine elves, these aliens, or whatever the fuck they are, right? Who knows what they are? But listen to this. It gets wild. It gets more wild. So he's saying Philip K. Dick knew he was somehow locked into this, and they were stealing his stories, breaking into his house and all this. And you know how Alex Jones is, right? He's, I'm like... And I mean this in the best way. I'm like sort of Alex Jones light, and that my thought process is sort of like this tree that just starts and goes into like 50 different things. But he's like 150 different ways, like maybe even more than that. He's like, so he can't even like finish a thought before he like breaks off his last thought and like goes into the next thought. So he's a rambler. Like, you think I'm a rambler? Alex Jones is a rambler, right? But listen to this. This is wild. So this was in 2020. I got the question from the chat. 2020 when he said this. But listen, so he's talking about the government, the CIA, Black Ops linking into taking these high-powered hallucinogens to contact extraterrestrials, machine elves, whatever the hell these things are. Here we go. Part 2 of this. Listen to this. This is wild.
All right, I'm now ranting. The point is that the CIA people, and if you go back, they're the ones that gave out the ingredients for LSD on the college campuses. They're the ones that synthesized DMT. They're the ones that did all of this. The owners of Time Life Books in the 40s were obsessed with this. They believe they're communicating with entities. They call them clockwork elves. Joe Rogan talks about he takes it. You see the elves, little green hats. There's a reason all cultures see the elves. I'm not into this. I don't take it. Let's say it's not real. Okay, I don't want national news to say Jones believes in elves. The elite, okay, and most of these old men you see at Bilderberg, there's a reason they're all whacked out of their minds. They're taking DMT. You think they're all a bunch of old men? They're in power because they were into this stuff 70 years ago. They were jacking DMT 70 years ago. They were injecting it. They were in special tanks. Their whole science is way ahead. We don't even know what they've got. And the point is that they want to, just by phasing this in, you'll be able to wire your head in and just get unlimited pleasure. It'll feel like 10 times the best orgasm for 3 days if you want straight. And that people will not eat. They will then starve to death. They've done the test with monkeys. I've been led into the UT facility. They've been doing these tests for 50 years. They're doing them right now.
Right. You hear what I said earlier? So it's that dopamine button. And they did this experiment with monkeys, and they killed themselves because they just kept smashing this dopamine button. It was like the free orgasm over and over and over and over again, right? And so, like you said, they'll starve to death. They died because they were just so addicted to this easy rush. And this is the point, right? This is exactly the point. And notice, this is 2020 he's talking about. This is when he was doing this, right? When he went on this little rant. But the thing is, he's describing exactly what I'm talking about tonight, right? Yeah, there you go. What's up, Tam Bam? 3-day orgasm, I would die, right? No, literally the monkeys died because they did days-long orgasms, right? That's what happened. They stopped eating. Why do you need to eat when you can just smash and get that dopamine hit? And the thing is, it's like super fast, right? Meaning that you hit it and you get it. You hit it and you get it. You hit it and you get it. And it lasts for as long as it lasts or whatever, right? And then you hit it and you get it. You hit it and you get it. And then they just keep doing it. And so we have the food response as well. When we eat, we eat comfort food. That's why we're like, oh God, give me the cheese and the extra bacon, or, sorry if you're vegetarian or all the rest of that. You know what I mean? Whatever like your indulgence is, give me the extra carbs, pile on the extra carbs. It's because there's that dopamine hit that goes along with it. And so in the same sense, if you cut that food dopamine hit, and it's like just the orgasm button over and over and over again, the digigasm in this case. Now we're taking it to the digital world, the metaverse, where they're actually trying to find a way to serve that, again, the digital six-pack and a digigasm shopping cart, ding, right? Like, this is what we're talking about. This is fucking wild. And so listen to what Alex Jones is talking about. So there you go, right? So he said it, a 3-day-long orgasm. They did experiments with monkeys. The monkeys were dying because they were just like bam, 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 smashed the button, stopped eating, died, right? Okay. They went out. It's like went out and like as long as the orgy was of eating, or sorry, not eating. I read the chat there. Like let's say a week-long orgy where you never drank a glass of water. Well, you die, but you die. Well, I don't know. Would that be? I don't know. I'm not going to make any sideways comments because it's too easy to get myself in trouble there. But so I don't know, right? And that's what's happening. Here we go. Alex Jones, part 3. He's talking about this. Listen to this.
With flicker rates, with televisions in front of monkeys' heads. They got the Monkey Research Center out in Bastrop with TV screens hooked up at the Psych Warfare Center run by the Pentagon at UT. I'm not even supposed to talk about the fact I've been let in there repeatedly. And there's monkeys strapped in with TV screens, flipping American Idol background scatter on the monkeys, testing the algorithm in their brain and how to put in carrier waves over it to put them into a deep sleep process. Just heaven help us. It's so hardcore. People don't even believe it. But that's the kind of stuff I never even get into because you're not ready for it. The globalists don't believe in Satanism. They believe they're contacting interdimensional aliens through the drug use and through the electronic interface. And they believe, and they actually write about, Ray Kurzweil, all of them, that they're going to merge with the machines, blast off into hyperdimensional space. And that's why they're so crazy. That's why they want to get rid of us. That's why they're smiling and giddy and acting so nuts, because they believe, if you're a psychiatrist and are hearing this, understand, whether it's real or not, they believe they are in contact with these entities and are being directed by them. That's why they're so evil. And the entities are telling them eternal life, total power, total control, everything you could ever want. Just kill everyone. Set up a world government. Build this design we're telling you. Build what we're telling you. Build this. Build this. Let us through. Build the Hadron Collider. Open the dimensions. Let us in. We're going to really help you. We're friendly little guys. Demons? Aliens? Don't exist? I don't know. I only cover what I can prove.
Is it wrong of me to say that Alex Jones is a national treasure? For as much of an asshole as he can be, and some of the knucklehead stuff he says, when he is on, he is on. That's for fucking sure. I got a couple more here, and then we'll get your thoughts on this, and then we'll round this out.
But now, I'm telling you, one of the big secrets of the elite, okay? And that gets pretty David Icke-ing. I don't know if any of that stuff's real, ladies and gentlemen. But the point is, that's what the elite are into. That's what they believe. That's what's going on. And I know people separately who lived in San Francisco that knew PKD and other people and the government folks involved in all of it. I get a lot of information at this level. Oh, my God, we're screwed. We are in so much trouble, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a bunch of lunatic elites thinking they're talking to little gray men who are telling them how to get eternal life. Does that sound like a good idea to you? Whatever it is, they believe it. Whether it's, I mean, why would there be in every culture, you can get a Chinese person, they've gone and given DMT to tribes that have never been in human contact, and they see the little gray men, the little elves with the green hats. Yeah, they fly around with Santa Claus, all right, folks. Okay, and now I've just got into a whole other area here with you. I'm just going to get real here on the show from here on out.
Yeah, I'm gonna just get real. After he literally just talked about the CIA injecting DMT as far back as the 30s and the 40s, and that's why they've taken control, and they're talking to little green men and trying to open the portals to bring them in. And he's like, I'm just gonna talk real from now. You've been talking. What are you talking about? Like, holy shit, man! Like, again, he's super funny, right? Like I said, as always, I think Alex Jones, let's say, takes a little too much maybe juice, and to me that's okay, right? Because it's part of the full spectrum of ideas. Okay, am I a super Alex Jones fan? Nah, I mean, he's coin flip to me. Sometimes he's good, sometimes he's just like face palm. You're like, oh, why is this guy talking about this stuff right now, you know? But yeah, for sure, right? This is right down Derek's alley. All right, so I got one more clip of him talking about this in particular, and this is what I mean, and this is why I'm saying is like, if we can actually sort of break down brain states and emulate DMT usage, and really, because if it is some sort of vibration inside of our brain that's allowing us to contact the machine elves or whatever the hell's going on with this DMT experience, right? If we can find some way to like manipulate that experience and cause it in people inside the metaverse, you see how like literally we're getting to like inception levels of dreams within dreams within dreams within dreams. And so shit becomes super fucked because you don't even know what's real anymore. And that's part of the problem, right? So when you unplug and you go back to your mundane existence or whatever that happens to be, right? You know, working slag in the mines or whatever the hell you're tasked to do in the future. Then what, right? Like, is that like your another digital existence where you're like whacking the slag, which is basically mining Bitcoin, but you don't know it. You think you're working in the mines to feed yourself, to go back to the metaverse. I mean, shit gets weird, right? Like layers and levels that go deep in this sort of inception type of, you know, base reality idea. We're fucked, right? We're fucked. Like you said, Jesus Christ, we're screwed, or whatever he said. Oh God, anyway. Last clip here from Alex Jones, and then I promise no more Alex Jones for a while. Actually, 2 more clips. Here we go.
Pentagon studies and DMT. I mean, it just goes on and on. The point is, whether it is some group consciousness thing in our brain that isn't real, or whether it is real, I don't know, and I don't get into things like that. But the point is, the elites believe they're in contact. Okay, they think it's real. I won't take DMT to find out. And I don't recommend you take it either. Supposedly hallucinate for about 5 minutes, don't even know where you are. And it can you know, all the heads of the 60s that it turned out were CIA and FBI. You know, all the main guys, it turned out, you know, who see the mescalito and they take enough peyote, the little elf. They're not seeing pink elephants, folks. And these little elves are telling them, do this, do that. A lot of these scientists will tell you, oh, we got this idea to go this way in technology from the Clockwork Elves. Oh, they build things. Yes, they do.
Yes, they do. You know, it reminds me, he says we're not seeing pink elephants, folks. You guys heard that old Creedence song? Tambourines and elephants are playing in the band. Take a ride on the fly and do. I won't sing anymore. James is like, hey, podcasters don't sing. But what's that? What's the song? I can't remember. Anyway, he's talking about an acid trip in that song. Tambourines and elephants are playing in the band. It's talking about an acid trip. And you're like, whoa. Great song, bro. Anyway, good old Creedence Clearwater. Last Alex Jones clip. Like I said, I can only take so much Alex Jones, but here we go. Last one, and here it is.
Now, I'm not saying any of this is real, but the Pentagon is whole hog in this stuff for 40, 50 years. I mean, they are completely obsessed with it. They put out the ingredients of DMT. They put out the ingredients of LSD. They put out the ingredients of PCP. They actually want you taking it. And the question is, why do they want you taking it? Because they want to open something up. And some will argue, well, it's good to have a psychedelic experience and to be able to reach out and expand your consciousness. But the question is, why does the Bible say don't do it? Because it opens up other worlds. Is it other worlds in our consciousness? Is it something in our subconscious? Maybe it's only in our brain. I don't know. But I shouldn't have even gone there. The point is, it just gets crazier by the minute.
The point is, it just gets crazier by the minute. Do, looking out my front door is the name of that song, if you guys know what I'm talking about. Let's go. What are your thoughts, guys? And now that you heard the Alex Jones extravaganza, that's the last clip. Who's ready on the Discord? And then we'll wrap this up.
Yeah, that was great. I loved Alex Jones, you know. Sometimes he comes out with some awesome stuff, doesn't he?
Yeah, and sometimes you're just face palming like, what is this guy talking about? Yeah, I don't know. I think context is everything, right? Context is always everything. But go ahead, Daryl. Go ahead, Daryl. Your thoughts on what he said. So he's talking about jacking CIA back to the 30s and 40s, jacking up DMT, and literally just trying to connect with spiritual aliens or whatever the hell's going on, angels or devils or God knows what's happening, but that they believe it. And he says, and he's right in the sense he's like, I don't even know if it's real. But if they believe it's real, like this is like welcome to like the most fucked up reality ever, right?
Right? I mean, they're having a collective experience. Like, let's say they're having a collective hallucination, or, you know, they all believe they're seeing these green men and they're communicating with them. I mean, it's their reality. You know, you see some pretty vivid things when you do those kind of things. And you swear that they're real, and if they're collectively seeing it, maybe they are communicating with some kind of entity, whether it's an alien or, you know, an archon or a giant or, you know, some kind of, you know, metaphysical monster, you know, magician, or, you know, some kind of metaphysical entity that it has a lot of magical powers, and maybe some information that might or might not be in their best interest, you know. But who knows, you know? God only knows what they experience, you know. Maybe we can find out if we get on the you know, the Metaverse narcotic trip, you know. If we could recreate that DMT. I'd like to try the DMT if it had no ill effects, you know. If I could see God, or I could see aliens, or some kind of, you know, intelligent being that has a message, you know, for the world. Yeah. You know, tap into, you know, find out what the globalists are up to. What they know that we don't know, you know.
Yeah, I don't know, and I think that's the craziest part. It's like how much of this do they believe? Like Rohan said in the past as well. He's like, it almost doesn't matter if it's real, because if these like sick people at the top rung of the elites, you know, I know we hate that term, but the the oligarchs. You know what's funny is they always say the Russian oligarchs. How come they never say the American oligarchs? You notice that? They're never like American oligarch Mark Zuckerberg. They never say that. But that's what he is.
Are oligarchs.
Yes, they are.
That's
Hell
what
yes,
they are.
That's exactly what
Gates
they are.
would be an oligarch, right?
Yes, exactly. Elon Musk, all of them. Oprah Winfrey, you're absolutely right. Yes.
We have our own. We've got our oligarchs.
Yes, we do. Yeah, wild stuff. I don't know. Like, where does this go? I think it was interesting to note that when we get down to the nitty gritty here, if we can actually digitally manifest a DMT trip in the metaverse, whew, things get ugly. Things get weird. Things get different. You will own nothing, and you will be happy because you'll be partying it up with John Fogerty and his. Hold on, I got it here right here. There's a giant doing cartwheels, a statue wearing high heels. Look at all the happy creatures dancing on the lawn, and the machine elves, of course. And there you go. I don't know.
Well, you know what would be interesting is if we could all collectively like do a Zoom trip, you know, and experience it together, you know, and see what happens. Like do a 5-minute ayahuasca trip, you know, and see what we see together. With like the right kind of, you know, the right kind of crowd, with the right kind of, you know, energy and a good vibe, you know, a positive energy. I mean, that would be awesome, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
What's up, shaman? Maybe we could get a shaman.
Yeah.
You know.
The shamanic experience in a group setting through a digital realm. I'm telling you, the world's getting fucked, right? We're talking about Inception dream levels. We're talking about Metaverse dream levels. We're talking about actual just considering things here. Like, again, you could call this like a digital dream level, I guess. Troubled minds, right? I don't know. Like, shit gets sick, doesn't it? What's up, Slurping Slugs? Drugs are bad, okay? Shout out to Ash, the reptilian from Mars. Where you been, buddy? Where the fuck you been, man? I play some Alex Jones, and he comes out the woodwork. He's like, "Ooh, Alex Jones." Yeah. I don't know. Wild stuff, huh? Wild stuff.
Love it. Love it. I love the whole idea. I think it sounds great.
Yeah, right.
But I think that's another way to keep us stuck on the metaverse,
100%.
I think that's the idea.
That needs to be a T-shirt too. Stuck on the metaverse. Thank you, Daryl. Appreciate it. Daryl's got a YouTube channel. Check it out. Links in the description. Follow Daryl. She sings in English and French, and she's got some other stuff regarding. Is your Morgellon stuff on that channel as well, or is it a different channel?
There's all kinds of crazy stuff. You have the patients looking as UFOs and the giants and giant silhouette shadow people, clowns. Morgellons, I sing.
Okay.
A lot of it is just.
So it's all there. Just one YouTube channel. All right, check it out. Check it out. You guys know and love Daryl. Daryl in New York. Fantastic stuff. I appreciate it very much. Let's go to James real quick. Your thought on the Alex Jones stuff. We'll go to Enoch and let's wrap this up. Thanks, Daryl. James, go ahead.
Yeah. It does always seem to come back to that idea that the people in power and that are said to be in charge, that they always, again, whether they believe it or not, or whether it is or not, they always do seem to be reaching out to what they think is more powerful to make themselves more powerful. I wonder if trying to get us all involved in that is just another way to intentionally reach out to other beings out there while they're watching, while these people in power are watching, so they can just jump to the head of the line.
Yes, jump to the head of the consciousness line, right? And we've talked about this in the past as well. So look, if you can manipulate consciousness and we don't even know what it is yet, maybe they figured out what it is and they figured out how to live forever. And maybe that's through the metaverse. Maybe that's through some sort of dream state. Who knows, man? Like this literally is just sort of jump 3 sharks and now we're like in the chessboard with sharks and like machine elves. Yeah, man, shit gets fucked up super fast, doesn't it?
Yeah, and then the other thing too is the idea of getting stuck in there. I do think that it goes back to energy again, and if we're made of this any kind of energy, our minds are our consciousness is made of energy, then who's to say that there isn't a way to get stuck in there? And we think of it as a bad thing, but there may be some people out there, and at times there are times when I sort of wouldn't mind just existing in a computer network. But there may be some people out there, the ones that are in charge, that would want to get stuck in there and just live in these networks forever, and then control everything from there.
Yeah. Hey, and that's what this is about, right? Like layers of reality and who's controlling what. And like I always say, like a lot of the shows that we do sort of bleed into each other because it's hard to we come up with these thoughts and we talk about them and we get together and then it spawns the next show, right? That type of thing, because these ideas are, I don't know, so massive and so terrifying and so inspiring too. I mean, isn't it interesting that you can use the term inspiring and terrifying in the same sentence? Tell me as a writer, right? It makes some sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's just like the whole idea of everything having its good and bad sides, and that it does seem like that's the case here as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, who the hell knows? I have no idea. You have no idea. We're here. Though James is a paranormal expert. If you say it often enough, it becomes true. James, you're the best, brother. Follow his podcast. Links in the description. Salcedo Paranormal. Thanks for hanging out with us, bro. Always a pleasure. Like I said, and this is the new truth as well. James is the lifeblood of this show. He's always joining on the spot if I need people to test tech stuff or whatever. He's like, I'll do it. Mike, I'm ready. Like he's always, literally, I've never asked James for anything, and he's like, nah, I don't have time for you, Mike. This dude is like, let's do this. And so I appreciate it very much. Thank you for being you. Thanks for being excited about this concept. And thanks for, man, you're becoming a deep thinker too. Not only, pretty soon you're going to be like the paranormal expert and like the digital philosopher of the 28th century before your time. It's happening and right before our eyes, bro. You're the best.
Well, thank you. I'm happy to be here with you all and consider all these things together.
Right on. Appreciate it very much. Let's go to Boomer. Boomer in Michigan. Short, quick
Yes.
on YouTube. Austin, how are you, my friend? Been a while. How's everything going with you?
I'm doing excellent. How's everybody doing on here?
As far as I can tell, I can speak for myself. A-okay. 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 What are your thoughts? I know you love some Alex Jones. What are your thoughts tonight?
Oh, yeah, I wanted to add in, before I go into the Alex Jones, just a little small thing real quick for James.
Sure.
We were talking about how they were like, well, to add into living into the metaverse, evidence of them wanting to do it so much, when we see the paper trails here, property value on virtual land is more than any physical, so that's a little clue. Maybe that's a hint to that. I don't know. Just pointing that out.
That's a fantastic, perceptive take on this, because not only that, right? Notice that the digital real estate is off the chain price wise, as well. By the way, so is regular real estate. We were talking about this the other night when you were on, and like shit is off the rails. Like everything is so ridiculously unaffordable unless you combine 5 families in a damn house anymore. So like maybe that's part of the plan. Maybe this is all. Again, you're going to live in your little pod and have nothing and be happy because you rent your VR device and your little Joe Rogan-esque what do you call it, the pod where you're floating in the water, whatever you call it. I don't fucking know, man. Maybe this is all related. I don't know, bro. That's a fantastic take there. Go right ahead.
Yes, and on Alex Jones, when I was 14, I started listening to him a lot, ironically after I took magic mushrooms. So that's a psychedelic. He didn't talk about magic mushrooms, I don't think, very much there, but psychedelic does count, I suppose. But yeah, I definitely felt like my perception changed of everything. Seen pretty quickly the intent seemed to be really important, kind of like a Ouija board or whatever, you don't want to mess with that stuff unless it's like almost an emergency, like unless people are using it against you and you just want to figure out what they're doing to you, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
No.
But so you're saying, though, so that experience, though you don't do that stuff anymore. I know we've talked about this often. It did change you. It changed you for the better, right?
It did, and I never planned on doing it more than once. And it was, I tried a little bit just to see if I was going to have some kind of reaction, and then I took about 4 grams between my friend, and I took mostly caps. He let me have extra caps, so I got the harder trip. I didn't see anything that wasn't there, but I did. Sun was setting when it kicked in. Just got out of the truck. I felt very grateful to step out. It kicked in right when I stepped out. I guess my circulation was going through better when I stepped out, And I was like, I got on my knees and I was thanking God to be alive, literally. And I was like, oh my God, like everyone's taking everything for granted. Oh my God, the trees are so pretty. I felt like I could see more beauty that was being looked over because of all this other stuff going on. And I don't know how to explain it other than how I am. I'm doing it the best I can. And we went out in public. They took me out, took me out to Arby's. My friends bought me a sandwich, and I usually don't eat fast food at all, but I was so grateful that they bought me something, and I was almost like tears of joy. And I knew my eyes were huge. My friends were telling me everything about my appearance. And there was this mechanic. He had name tag alone, sitting. The chairs were up. It was probably an hour or two till close at night, And he was really nervous that I was there. And I'm like, I could feel his energy. I swear I could feel his energy. And I was like, praying to God to help me stop laughing because I felt like I was going to give him a heart attack because I was just having too good of a time.
Hey, Austin, that's the fun police. You're not allowed to have too much fun or you give people heart attacks, bro. Don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, I could feel it. I don't want to hurt anyone, and that's what I was saying. I felt like I was talking to God for that second. I was like, I don't want to hurt this man. Like, this man really is way too much in my business, but I know it, and because I'm aware, I shouldn't have, like, abused that power, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, never been something that I've actually encountered, but I think it's interesting to talk to people that have done it, because you don't know, right? Like you said, there's a such thing as a bad trip. There's a such thing as a good trip. There's everywhere in between, and I don't know. So are you fortunate? It's the only time you ever did it that you had a good trip? Is that what happened?
Yeah, I did a lot of research to make sure that I watched Leon the Professional just before it, just before I did it. And I was smoking a little bit of weed. I'll be completely honest about what I was doing, and it's going to be different for everyone. I've seen little documentary videos of people going out to these tribes, and they're talking about, they all seem to have the same thing in common, and that's not to abuse this stuff. This stuff is not to be taken to get high at all.
Yeah. Hey, so it's more of a back to the shamanic journey, right? Back to that.
Yeah, I also seen that if they have like Alzheimer's or something, it's been known to like regrow synapses in the brain.
Yeah,
like reconnect them.
Yeah, and actually they're looking to psilocybin to actually start treating depression and like all kinds of other stuff. So I wonder, right? It makes you wonder. It makes you wonder, like, what the hell's really going on here? And once again, like, so if we're talking about it like in a medicinal purpose, and it's an consciousness altering substance, either we do know, let's say medically, what's going on with consciousness, or we have no fucking idea and we're just throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping something sticks. And either one is both terrifying, right? Either of those ideas are like, wait, what? So we just experimenting with consciousness and saying, oh, that seems to have fixed some things, or we know exactly what we're doing and altering those things in a perfect little samples. I don't know. Sick shit, isn't it?
It did open up my mind to how anti-fungi the Western world is, especially in the U.S., a lot less than most other countries. And the mycelium network is really, you did a show on it too. It's a huge, it's a whole nother show on its own. But there is this movie I'd like to recommend. It's a little documentary, you know, you're fine. It's called Fantastic Fungi, the mushroom movie, a film by Louis Shamsberg. That really, I think I watched that before I took it, actually, too. I was looking everywhere. Like, I was really concerned because I heard people have a bad trip, and I wanted to do everything I could. You know, I put in hours a day for probably a few months before I even considered getting it.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man. I do like that you're like, results may vary. Not everybody.
You gotta know yourself.
Yeah.
Know yourself. Yes.
Totally.
Number one.
Right on. Yeah, good stuff. What about digital DMT? What's your thought on that?
Now, I don't know about the binaural beat. That's like binaural beat stuff, right? Because I actually used binaural beats to help me astral project and stuff, and that helped a lot. For OBB, or out of body experience, OBE. So I think that's real. And my friend, I had a good friend. I had a lot of crazy friends that like to try the stuff. One of them loved taking digital drugs, like sounds and whatever. I thought it was kind of weird. If he's listening, still love you, man, but I wouldn't do it, just saying. And DMT, too. I have one of my best friends. I know that he's probably still alive. I don't know where he is. I'm not going to disclose that, really. But he's he used to, like, make it and take it, and he'd, like, preach it. And he's like, you got to try it. And I'm like, no way, man. I'll pass. Because I heard a lot about everyone in his circle that he gave it to. It synchronizes with your show. They said that they seen, or what Alex said, they seen little gray men. They were like in a spaceship or whatever, and they seen little gray men in the saucer or whatever, and they said it was like way better than acid, that you're like third person or whatever. And I also watched people take it in front of me many times, and they're extremely unresponsive. Like,
Okay.
I could have literally taken everything from them, but I was joking about it. I love them. I wouldn't do it, but I'm just saying, look at them. They're, like, so vulnerable right now.
So they go comatose. I was actually going to ask you that. So if he was actually pushing this on friends and had a circle of people doing it, so they did indeed say that they were experiencing that machine elf situation, right? It's a thing. It actually happened.
Yeah, I didn't hear. I'm not being politically I'm not wording myself the right way. I don't think they said elves, but I only remember stories of little gray men and them being in a saucer, and that was like the story that they all had in common. And I'm just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and there's different terms, by the way. So that the machine elves term comes from Terence McKenna. That's why I use that term. They call them all kinds of different other terms. So by the way, and little gray men, by the way, is another term that they use for these whatever these entities are. So it is. Yeah. I guess they manifest depending on. I don't know. I don't know what the parameters are, or else I'd just be able to tell you. But certain people see certain things and describe them in certain ways, and it's sort of fractal beings with, interestingly and crazily, like sort of Cthulhu-esque, meaning that sometimes they'll have 22 arms, or and they're able to grow them, but their arms grow into the space around them, right? So it's like they're a plant or a tree, or it's super fucked, right? Depending on who you talk to, but like, yeah, little gray men. They call them tykes, I think. They call them machine elves, and machine elves is the one most people know because Terence McKenna said that. So yeah, wild shit, man. So go ahead.
I just wanted to say that this stuff is extremely addictive because my best friend tried like every drug. He was like a little drug mouse or whatever. I'm using the wrong words again. He just tried a bunch of different drugs, right? This guy didn't really ever get addicted, but everyone else did. So that's stuff's pretty dangerous, I think. Everyone was fiending for it all. Like every now and then they would talk about it, be like, I need to get some more, and gotta get some more DMT. Would like smoke it or whatever. It's pretty sad, honestly.
Yeah, but again, so like there's addiction is also complicated because it is a mind, right? Like it's locked into that dopamine hit in the mind, and so again, back to the monkeys and that experiment where they just killed themselves smashing the orgasm button over and over again. This is exactly the thing. It like addiction is also complicated. And like we don't know, right? Like there's so much there. And so and some people tell me straight up, and look, I do not believe this because addiction is mental, and some people say that this particular drug, and many people say cannabis, is not addictive, and I'm like, really? Like I don't know. Like
they're just being smart. They're just being smart with you because I see what you're saying. It's the dopamine. But they're like, oh yeah, it's not the cannabis, it's the dopamine. They could say, right? But it affects your dopamine, so it's like,
That's exactly what it is. And so, and again, everything is a little different. So I don't want to be judgmental in that aspect. But what I am saying that like I've known people that have been addicted to marijuana, right? That's what I'm saying. Clearly, obviously, 100%, they couldn't like function without it. They do it at work, right? It's like. Really? You couldn't wait till you got off work? I mean, hey, right? Hey! I don't fucking know.
I would like to say something about that real quick because there was a person in high school. I don't know if she's out there. Her name starts with a V. I don't know if you listen to the show, but you might think, like, know me already when I said that. But she wrote a whole research paper in high school about dopamine. Like, it was like 30 pages. She didn't believe I read it, but I swear to God I read it. Okay, if you're listening, I read it. And she talked about how the dopamine limit just drops. Like you lower the amount of joy you can get the more you abuse it, and then you have to go through huge withdrawals to break out of it. And depending on how heavily addicted you are, you're going to be really depressed for months without whatever it is to break out of that addiction until your dopamine level begins to raise its limit and resets so you can be back to having your normal balance. I don't know, carbon 60 might actually help with that. There's it's a pretty avoid. Yeah, I don't know why I said that, because there's stuff that a lot of companies like to put solvents in there that are actually pretty dangerous. So do your own research on that. A lot.
And
like
be careful.
Ton.
Be careful what you put into your body, because many times it is not. There's no redo button. Let's say. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not FDA approved either, so don't listen to me.
Also, definitely, it's not FDA approved, and also make sure it's legal in your jurisdiction. Austin, you're the best.
Yeah, consult your doctor or healthcare practitioner
before you change your diet. Consult your doctor. All that good shit. You're the best. You're the best, bro. What else you got for us, my man? We got Jennifer on the line behind you. Let's get your final thought here.
Wow, great show. I don't know what else to say. I never regret listening, although like I'm always distracted with like a lot of other stuff. I don't get to listen to it all the time, but every time I do tune in, I always get sucked in, you know, and that's a good thing, because there's always really interesting stuff being examined in this show. It's awesome. You feel it.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for enjoying it. Thanks for being part of it. Austin here, a good friend of mine. You can find him on Short Quick. You still doing the YouTube channel?
Yeah, it's a really slow process though.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So Austin has a YouTube channel. He does some organic stuff. He's growing things. He's doing some. He's talking about a lot of things in the periphery of what we talk about on Troubled Minds. Kind of that's all. What do you call it? The parallel society type stuff. He's like, hey, you know, like grow your own stuff. Type like this type of thing. Go give Austin a follow on YouTube. It's called Short Quick. Can you give me a link real quick in the thing, and I'll share it in the chat. And actually, are we okay to share it now? Are we okay to share it? Because like we're kind of in that weird space where you're like, nah, I don't want to share it.
Yeah, it's not there really yet. It's not really. I don't think it's worth anyone's time much per se. I mean, just what you said about it. If they looked that up on the internet, what you said, like growing your own stuff, self-efficiency, they're gonna learn way more than what's on my channel. I just literally talked about turkey tail mushrooms, and the video was edited poorly, and I never fixed it, and I don't really want to.
That's all right.
Because I had to fix it like 3 or 4 times, and it was like, oh my gosh, there was still that clip of me like turning the camera or whatever, because I wanted to make it smooth as heck. And then I made one little cooking tutorial on basically just throwing stuff in a crock pot and winging it on like how much of what seasoning to put in there, and it turned out pretty great, you know.
That's okay. That's okay. That's how one learn at life, and 2 how we learn at YouTube. So let me know. I'll actually get the link and I'll share it.
I promise.
Put it there. Go ahead.
It will get better, and I do have a lot of plans for it. That's what I have to say. It's probably going to take maybe this year. I'll get another video, because I just realized that my mom's actually like a superstar on TikTok. So it's with the same subject that I'm doing. After I showed her my video, she showed me like how big her channel is and stuff, and she's got like over 500 followers and stuff, and she's got way better videos than me, and I'm just like, what the heck? I never heard of it.
That's funny. Get wrecked, noob. Mom's showing you the way. Awesome stuff. All right, cool. Let me know when you're ready to share that. I'm happy to share it and boost it as much as we can. This is not like God's work or anything in the sense that I can just wave the magic wand and make you a superstar, but I will do what I can for you. Okay, I appreciate you very much.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, I get that part.
Yeah, thanks for being part of this. Thanks for being a good friend, and thanks for being a staunch advocate for these conversations, because I know you are. You're spreading the word out there, and I appreciate it a lot.
Same to you, man. Much love.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Austin, a good friend. All right. Thanks for the phone call. Let's go to Jennifer in Missouri. Welcome to Troubled Minds. How are you tonight?
Good. I've been packing, and I have this new dog that, showed up. So I'm just like kind of fiddling with all that.
Just
I've been
showed
listening.
up.
And I was thinking, and I was like, it's too late. But I was like, but I had this one thing that I wanted to mention.
No, go ahead.
But anyway, I was just thinking there's nothing to add really, because this has been a great show and all the calls and everything. But So, but I was thinking about the sound. Okay, the whole combination of the whole thing of like filling people's minds with the beats, the sound, and then on top of that, which the sound thing in itself is like a huge history of all of this use of music. There's evidence of it for like in the churches and just being plain spoken. Honestly, like if you look at the cathedrals and everything, it was all built for the sound. And then the same thing with all the mysticism, like the Sufis and all of them. Like even in yoga and everything, the humming and the chanting, all the things about the music and the sound and what they do to the brain, because they this idea that there's no, like it's space without and space within, and there's not really any difference. And so if you have that kind of thing going on in the body and is being immersed in sound, like if you put headphones on, the sound's just going right into your brain and changing the brain. But they believed that it was like changing the frequency there was like a way of communicating with some other forces of some kind, or getting in contact with God or the universe itself. So it's really strange to think about that they would be, I don't know, when you mix the beats, but then you take the drug aspect of it too, like the pharmaceutical thing, like of doing psychedelics and mind-altering substances to get into touch with these beings. It's so strange that they're, especially with the metaverse stuff, that you would want to combine all of those things, as if, and those things all on their own have been used in a positive way at times, but to think about the idea that they couldn't possibly have a good intention, because there's like no sign of it. But so I don't know if they were to ever do something like that, it would have to be for some terrible purpose. I would suspect, especially what if, the psychedelic experience you're having, if you are getting in touch with another dimension, which is what people seem to feel like is happening, what if it's the sensation of either they are going into another dimension, or a dimensional being is actually like coming into them, like they are possessed in a way for a little bit, a different, like of another dimension, good or bad, but like another being or something, or another energy is coming from some other place through you as a channel. So there's the idea of them using, I don't know, if they were encouraging people to take these substances, and no bad on people who have, because it'd be different for everyone. It's been done forever. So nothing like that. But I mean, under the circumstances of it being produced by the government, like them chemically producing these substances and calling it what they call it, as if it might be actually what they're saying it is. I mean, it might not be. I don't know. But you combine all it together. I'm not really sure where I'm trying to go with this, but it just seems like they probably, you would be surrounded by these sounds that are changing the frequencies around yourself and inside yourself. On top of that, you're taking a substance. Why would they be trying to create this ecstatic experience for everyone? It's very strange. And then linking it to the metaverse itself, as if to make you, the addiction aspect of it, hallucinogens themselves, I suppose they could be addictive. Most people don't start out trying to get addicted to that. They get addicted to things like coffee, cigarettes, alcohol.
Exactly. Like things that seem innocuous, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Not like tripping all the time. I don't think that like a lot of people get addicted to that. But the idea of living in a perfect reality, or a reality that makes you think your life is better than it is, people could very easily succumb to that. Trying to ignore, how their life actually is, or to try to disassociate from what it might actually be like, or how they're perceiving it. So if they're playing up that kind of card to make people think that they're having a better existence than they are, which is what they're doing all the time, like when they convince people to buy the things that they buy, they're just convincing them that they're going to make their life better somehow, that they're going to be better, their life will be better if they do this and do that and do it a certain way, look a certain way, have these certain things. Life's going to be better for you. But it's unlikely that it's going to change anything. Because, we know that our basic happiness comes from the people we're around and how we see the world and all that stuff. But like I say, with the music, the sound thing, I mean, it's just bizarre.
Yeah, you know what's interesting too?
The binaural beats do affect. There's no denying it.
Yeah, for sure.
Your brain somehow.
Yeah, they affect our brain state. And the interesting part, right, is they go back to these Neolithic sites that we were talking about. We kind of didn't get into it, and which is okay because I prefer like talking to you guys. But like in these
so many other things that were awesome. Yeah.
Yes, like Stonehenge and some of these Neolithic sites where they do like sort of these drum rhythms where they get like this trance-like state, and it's like the original binaural beat. It's like as they sort of describe like these sound frequencies sort of bouncing off of the things. They describe these stone structures as sort of like being able to play them like an xylophone, like that sort of thing. And the whole point is, and like you just described, and this is what I was thinking of as you were talking about this. It's like, okay, look, and so if you go back to like the ancient priesthood, and let's say we're at Stonehenge or whatever with the Druids or whatever the hell was going on there, like they say there was sacrifices, they say there wasn't. Who knows, right? But they have determined that there's different sound frequencies that actually kind of create a trance-like state in the human mind. And so when you're doing that, what is it? Is it ascension or is it control, right? Like not saying the world's a binary equation like that, but those are the two things that easily come up in my mind. It's like, wait, so are we trying to help people sort of break out of their reality into a different reality, or is it another way to control them, right? And then again, the conspiratorial mind, I don't know. I kind of lean toward control. I kind of, right? Because if you go into the church, like you said, the cathedrals and the
if they mainline this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I mean, if they were to, like you're saying, if they intentionally go on and do like this metaverse thing, and then they mix in digital drugs, which is just, I don't understand. but they mix that in with the sound thing, or if that's if that's synonymous, if that's like one and the same thing, or whatever, however that's working. Because this is all beyond me. Like with the whole digital.
Me too.
It's like,
yeah, me too.
God, I don't know.
I'm pretty good with the digital world, but
yeah,
it's also beyond me. Why would you? I'm leaning toward control. I'm 60-40 control. It's not
that's
ascension.
That's not living.
No, it's
that's
not living. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go but, say hi to the nature spirits for us.
I don't know.
Same here. I don't know. And I don't know is good enough. I appreciate it very much.
The sound thing, right? I don't know. Never mind. The sound thing. There must be something about tuning in the sound thing, getting in touch with some other shifting like maybe the mystics must have been trying to like shift their minds and therefore shift their reality in order to commune with the universe in some way, right? I'm assuming. So they're trying to do that with the metaverse. But then you combine that with, let's do some drugs too, because that's, of course, a great idea to like also shift the reality over.
Yeah.
And ideally, let's do it in a false reality altogether that's simulated that you believe might be real. So you believe it's really real. And then we're going to show you something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I would think is going on. Let's put you in this altered state, and then I want you to see something. And it's going to like, I don't know what it would do to people. You know? That must be what they're doing though. If somebody was like, here, take this, Jen, and then listen to this, and put this VR thing on or whatever, and go, I'm going to be like, what are you trying to do to me?
Exactly.
Like, what are you trying to do?
Right.
Like, I'm not coming back, am I? Yeah.
Right.
And if you think about somebody doing that to you, it sounds like some kind of horrible experiment where you're probably not going to be okay. Like, I wouldn't feel safe with that. I just wouldn't trust somebody that was telling me to do that.
No, same here.
I wouldn't trust anybody trying to give me anything. Like, you know, but I don't know. Especially the government. Or like, especially like these
Facebook
corporations.
Facebook.
Like, I'm going to give you some drugs.
Would you buy a digital six-pack and a digigasm from Facebook? Fuck no, I wouldn't.
Why would I even know? Why? Where are we when we need to do that anyway? Like, we have the real stuff. Like, let's do this. We have the real. We can build it. You know, we have the technology to have this real experience already, and it'll be like nothing you've ever had, you know, like for real. Why have a fake version of it? like a not real, like it feels real. It's like, but we have the real.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
Like, here, have a simulated beer. It's like, but I have real beer if I want it.
Right.
Have simulated sex. It's like, but there's real sex to
Right.
be had.
Right.
Like, why would you do something so silly? It doesn't even make any sense.
It doesn't.
But I don't understand. So, no.
And I'm with you. And we'll shrug our shoulders and keep talking about this.
Future.
Expecting a digital future,
where
right?
they're not going to let people have sex or drink beer. Maybe they're going to have a future where you can't have sex and you can't have beer.
Wait. I got a thing. Hold on, before you go, listen to this. Remember that old George Orwell quote? This is like a minute long. I'll take one more minute of your time.
I knew you were going to say that.
Listen to this. Listen to what he just said. Listen to this.
This is the direction the world is going in at the present time. In our world, there will be no emotions except fear, rage, triumph, and self-abasement. The sex instinct will be eradicated. We shall abolish the orgasm. There will be no loyalty except loyalty to the party. But always there will be the intoxication of power. Always, at every moment, there will be the thrill of victory, the sensation of trampling on an enemy who is helpless. If you want a picture of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever. The moral to be drawn from this dangerous nightmare situation is a simple one. Don't let it happen. It depends on you.
Indeed. You're it's almost like you're George Orwell light, Jennifer. Thank you for the call. You're the best. What else you got? Test 1 2. I don't know if she left. Let me see. Are you there? Ah, shit. The phone line dropped. There it went. The phone line dropped. All right. Sorry about that, Jennifer. Sorry about that. She's probably talking and nobody's here. All right, let's do it. Let's do the quick let's do the ninja callback and let's see if we can get her back on. All right. Yeah, as usual, like Jennifer's got the worst luck, by the way, because she'll do this and she'll call and she'll be on a roll and then the technology dumps. Jeez. There we go.
Is on dual channel.
All right. Sorry about that, Jennifer. Your luck has resurfaced, and literally right after the George Orwell clip, the call dumped.
Yeah, I didn't play. I didn't hear it.
Oh, you didn't hear it? Okay. Okay.
Like, oh, okay.
No, it was silence.
I was
Silence.
like, no, I don't hear anything at all. But
the phone call dumped.
Silence.
My bad. Anyway.
So did they hear it? Did everybody else hear it?
Yeah.
It's a good quote. I remember
played.
it perfectly. Like, not memorized, but I remember it just fine. Did
Yeah, it
everybody
played
else
through.
hear it, though?
It played through,
I'm
yeah.
sure they did.
Yeah. So what's your thought on that? And then I'll let you know.
No, I was just waiting. I think that George Orwell, I think he was prophetic because he was in on everything that they were doing behind the scenes, right? Like he knew.
He knew. Yeah, he knew. I'm with you. I hear you. Yeah, he knew. It seems like he was locked to a future so many others couldn't comprehend. And here we are, like literally, we're talking about.
Hello?
Yeah, are you there? Hello?
Yeah, my phone's messing up.
Okay, all right.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, loud and clear. Loud and
I
clear.
might just have to let it go.
Okay, all right.
Just that a lot of the sci-fi writers, they say that they were set up to like pretty much design ideas or to even like for the future, you know. So it makes you kind of wonder who his colleagues, you know, what they were up to. I bet he kind of knew. I bet he knew a lot.
I think
was
so.
like, oh my God, you know, I can warn the people because it's so far away. You know, I can put it into my work and it's so far away it won't matter because it was a long time ago, you know.
Absolutely.
I don't know.
I appreciate it, Jen. Can you hear me? Test 1 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Appreciate the phone call. Good luck with the move. Always a pleasure. And Jennifer has a YouTube channel. Please give her some love. Scroll down, link in the description. And thanks for the call. Thanks for listening. Always a pleasure. Have a great night.
Yep. Have a great night.
Thanks a lot. You too. There we go. Easy as that. 702-957-1037. We're kind of out of time, but hey, it's Trouble Minds Friday, so fuck it. Let's go to Ash on Mars. Beep 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 beep. Actually, hold on.
You me with the fuck it.
I got a little thing here. Hold on. I got the little thing. Let's beep into Mars, and hey, if I got this thing here, we got to use it.
Oh my gosh.
Mars, do you copy? Test 1 2. What's up, Ash? Ash the reptilian. How are you, brother? How you been, man?
I feel honored.
It's been a while.
I have my own little sound effect.
Your own sound effect. What's up, bro? What's going on? Hey, Ash sent me a message, and you guys are gonna love this. He said this. He's all. He said DMT, Metaverse, drugs, and elves brings out all of us loonies. So, welcome to the joint. What's on your mind, my man?
Yep. Hey, you know what? I'm a top tier loony. You could have got me with any one of those subjects. So, you know.
All right. Well, here we are. Go right ahead.
To me. No, it's a good subject. There's a lot of angles, really good calls, man. I'm always surprised by how much I can learn from other people. Like, I mean, I can't even pronounce the words of some the what's the minus symbol? God, the mushroom. What's the mushroom word? The
mycelium network.
Mycelium. Yeah. Like the information about that.
Psilocybin. And what are you talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, and I have some friends. Literally, Alex Jones mentioned this. I also have some Silicon Valley friends who did a lot of those stuff and talked to entities. One friend claimed he talked to God for 10 hours. So I imagine something masquerading as God, but he talked to something for a while, and then he was telling me all these things it said, and I was finishing his sentences, and he was like, "How do you know that?" Which was a weird experience, and I was like, "Well, I just know it from, being crazy, I guess, like from just, listening to Mike's show and looking into these subjects." And he's like, "Well, I've never looked into it. This is just what this thing told me." So it was a weird experience, and I wish I should have wrote them down and kind of like went through those things, because just to kind of have that, I guess, data point. But yeah, it's a great topic. It's really interesting. I know it's getting late. I just kind of wanted to bring up, if you guys are willing to make some sacrifices or, do some dirty stuff, you can upgrade to the Premium Rich Elite experience here in our metaverse. This package has been enjoyed by some other people like Jeffrey Epstein and some other people. So just putting that ad out, it's like an in-game ad for you, so you can that's always an option, if you want to go down that road. Or get into some weird stuff in Hollywood. But you look at what's interesting about this subject is it marries all these kind of things together as if we are in some sort of game or something, right? And whether you're talking about souls, DMT, aliens, remote viewing, I have like a list of stuff. Religious experiences, DMT experiences, all these kind of things don't make any sense to our current reality, and it points to the fact that we're in something, like we're in a system that we don't quite understand, and that where's the top of that system, where's the bottom, I don't know, but and I don't think any human really does, but what are we in and how does it work? And I don't know. I think that's a question that's going to always bug people, and why we've crafted all these religions and all this stuff. And it's like, are we in a metaverse already? And are we in a metaverse and we're about to create another metaverse? And like, how far down are we going to go? Is our consciousness like 3 levels deep already? Is it kind of like Inception, where we've got to live 1,000 lives in the bottom metaverse to get to the current metaverse? I don't know. I don't have the answers, but I know when you start looking into all this stuff, you start seeing some crazy stuff, and you can't. It's really hard to figure out. So anyway, that's all I want to add. just kind of want to mention these things.
Yeah, lots of things worthy of being mentioned. You're the best, bro. Where you been? Everything okay with you?
Yeah, everything's good, man. I haven't really been producing content lately. Just as you mentioned, I don't know if you guys know, it's quite a bit of work and quite a commitment. And when I do things, I kind of like to stick with it for a while. So I think I'm just taking a break, trying not to go crazy, just like everyone else. And but yeah, I think I'm going to be coming back around. I'm just kind of figuring out what topics to kind of hit. There's a lot of current events. The world is always screwy. Yeah, and I'd like to get back before a political cycle starts, and then all that crap starts again, right? So,
hey, we got midterms coming up. Shit's about to get out of hand. It's probably already out of hand, but geez, what can you do? What can you do? I don't know. I don't have answers. You know me. I'm just like, fuck. Here we are in the middle of this, like neck deep in some bullshit and trying to figure it out. I don't know. I exactly, just put the clothespin on your nose and hopefully that it doesn't take you over. I don't know, bro. Yeah, well, you're welcome anytime. You know where to find us.
For sure, man.
Ash,
hey, man, I appreciate the invite. Honestly, I really do.
All the time. It's always open. You know it's always open. Don't act like it isn't. Don't be all coy and stupid. Don't be that guy. Get the fuck here whenever you want to get the fuck here. You're always welcome, bro. Ash has a YouTube channel, Ash the Reptilian from Mars. Links in the description down below. Give him a follow. He's taking a break, but he'll be back on the game talking about aliens and conspiracy and all the amazing shit we always talk about. Ash, you're the man, brother. You're the man. What else you got for us?
That's kind of it for tonight. It's good talking to everyone. Good. I hope everyone's doing well. I've had some pretty good live streams, and it's fun hanging out with you guys. You guys are smart cookies, and thanks for reminding me of that tonight. It's like it was a really good show. So you guys have a good night. Check out my channel. I talk about crazy stuff, all this kind of crazy stuff, and yeah, have a good night. That's it.
Take it easy. Ash, the Reptilian from Mars. Beep, beep, beep. Tuning out. All right, let's get the fuck out of here. It is Trouble Minds Friday, and APOD, good to hear you, Ash. There you go. See? People missing Ash. See, if you smash too many together, you go, missing Ash. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. All right, let's get the hell out of here. Again, let's just play the outro music. Anybody have an outro for us before I click us and do this thing? Anybody there? We got James is still here. Daryl's still here. I think I muted Daryl. Sorry, Daryl, I muted you. I'm unmuting you because your sounds were coming through, but you're unmuted now. Welcome back if you're there. Outro for us, James or Daryl?
No, just great chatting calls and glad to be with you all as always.
Boom.
It's a really fun show, very interesting show, and looking forward to sharing some cider or some grog or some moonshine, some virtual moonshine.
Digital moonshine.
Together.
Digital moonshine. Hell yeah! All right. There you go. That's an actual T-shirt as well. Digital moonshine. Shit. Thank you, Daryl. Appreciate it very much. Appreciate it, James. Appreciate it, Daryl. Everybody else that called in tonight, everybody else in the chat, I see you out there. Like I said, so much love on this show. Just remember, don't forget, everybody out there is going through something that you can't fathom. So just be kind. Just be cool. Be chill. And that's what this is about. That's what this show's always been about. That's what this show will always be about. Night Stalker adds, the testimony of DMT for me is that there is a nearby dimension teeming with intelligences that from one of the more conservative perspectives seems like an ecology of souls. Terrence McKenna, there's the outro. Thanks, Derek. Appreciate that. That's a great one. Yeah. Nice. So what the hell does all this mean? I have no fucking idea. You guys know the drill. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific if you want to be part of this. Thanks for all the unbelievable support on the podcast feed. Thanks for all the unbelievable support from the Troubled Minds fam. By the way, I'm going to to read this too. We had a great comment tonight, which I dropped in the general over on Discord. If you haven't joined the Discord, troubleminds.org, click the Discord link. Check this out. We had a comment from Corbo Noir on YouTube, and it's like this. Love this show because I've never really contemplated about this topic, so it's very interesting to consider. Also, I've been listening for several months and have grown to love the Troubled Mind family that call in, and there you go. And that means you. That means you guys. That means you. I'm telling you, you think people aren't hearing you? People are hearing you, and they appreciate you, and the love keeps spinning. It's a cyclone of love, and that's a t-shirt. Let's get the hell out of here. All right, so as we finish, if you want to help the show, there's a few ways to do that. On Twitch, you can sub up, of course, through Amazon Prime at no additional cost. It's built into your Amazon Prime if you have it for the year. You could also sub up on Rockfin. You can sub up on Patreon. And if you like the show, don't like the show enough, or don't have the means to help with money, no problem. You can help us by spreading the word, or also both listening to the podcast feed, also Spotify or iTunes, or there you go, wherever you listen to your podcast. Every time you listen to one and download it, it does ad impressions, and I get a few cents. So there you go. Listen to old episodes. There's gold in them our old episodes. So there you go. Let's get the fuck out of here. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for each and every one of you. You guys know who you are. There's too many to list, because if I do it, I'm going to forget somebody. Right, James?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. It's a bad move. Don't list people, or you'll be listing halfway into the night and you'll still forget people. So as we get the hell out of here, it goes a little something like this. You want to do it, James?
Okay.
Roll it.
Be sure, be strong, be true.
Thank you for listening. From our troubled minds to yours, have a great night. Well done again. Pro of pros, James.
Thank you.
Thank you.